Ahoy, landlubbers. It's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. Back in HD again. If you only watch Lamplight City for some reason, I busted this out last night. It's new. I was just trying to recount the events of our last stream. We completed our second proper case. I think it's technically our third case, because there's the prologue case that you don't solve where Bill dies. But, like, you kind of investigate it. But then there's, the first case is the woman who wasn't murdered, and then you figure out that it's not like some random kid who was doing voodoo or something. And then this time around it was kidnapping, and we found out that it was the nanny who believed that this wealthy family's son was the reincarnation of her son, who died in a tragic anti-domestic violence poisoning incident. It was really quite tragic. I like this game does a good job of like creating motives and red herrings and things. It makes the gameplay really compelling compared to stuff like, and I've made a few comparisons to this game already because I think that this game is like specifically trying to emulate or perhaps even one up LA Noire in some ways. But I feel like it's a lot more effective than my recollection of the experience playing LA Noire. Because LA Noire's like whole thing was just like the facial expressions, which like everyone was like hamming it up so hard at all times that like basically they could be lying about the fact that they farted and blamed it on the dog, or that they committed mass murder, and they'd be making the same goofy expressions. So like it reached this point of like oversaturation of like acting that like nothing was useful to me. Like I never understood what the game wanted me to do, because everyone was basically just like constantly chewing the scenery as hard and as loud as possible. But I feel like this game like actually takes great care to like consider like actual humans and like human nature, and like puts and like creates characters in the cases that like have connections and possible motives and you know, reason to be suspected whether or not they did it. It makes a richer investigation experience than the average game. I do feel like, especially lately, I've been playing a lot of sort of investigation, mystery sort of based story games, and frankly, not a lot of them are very good at that, which is maybe one reason why I find it so impressive that Lamplight City does it well. But like, I've just generally enjoyed the experience of playing this game. It's not heavy on puzzles or anything like that, but it is heavy on sort of investigation and logic, and the puzzles that are there are fun, so I've really been enjoying it. But as for what we're doing tonight, I really don't know, because we're going to start a new case. We just got to the end of the last one, where Ezekiel Dollar arrested a woman for stealing a baby, which, you know, don't steal babies. Vasco facts. So it could be anything, even the case of a missing boat. What if the dog did murders that they were covering for? Honestly, in LA Noire, it could be anything. Like, literally, like, name a thing, and, like, they'll just be like... And then the game's like, well, you understand what that means, right? And it's like, what? What does it mean? When the face is like... I just didn't get it. Like, I know that the technology was kind of ahead of its time, but the execution was, like, so confusing. Like, I spent so much of that game trying to be like, I honestly feel like I'm a pretty good judge of, like, character, and in some cases, body language, but, like, all the characters just looked like they were glitching, because they just, like, wouldn't stop emoting with their faces. I found that game really frustrating to play, which is evidenced by the fact that it's, like, the second full-length playthrough of a video game involving me that was ever posted to YouTube, and it's like 100 parts, and it's not a favorable examination of that game. But instead, we have Lamplight City. It good. So I think I think the save file that I set up was like, we just woke up from a nightmare we had where we encountered like the silhouette of the guy who robbed the florist and ended up getting Bill killed, and Bill blames us because he's hot garbage, because Bill's not very good. I don't think anything else. I don't think there was like a knock at the door or a wife or anything. I think we just like woke up and we're like, oh my god, whatever. And I think when I leave, the case will start. Let's find out.
So, you're up at last.
My lovely wife. It does actually. Hang on a second. No, this will have to wait.
Is something the matter, Addie?
Oh, I see. You don't remember last night, do you?
Uh-oh. That sounds bad.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Sounds like I'm in trouble. These are all fairly interchangeable. Let's not accept blame when we don't know what happened yet, but let's be humble and suggest that we understand it might be bad.
Please tell me I didn't do anything stupid last night.
No, I wouldn't use the word stupid.
Would you use the word murder?
Oh, thank God.
Disgusting and shameful would be more appropriate, I think.
Well, just so long as it wasn't stupid, I think we can all agree that I'm doing fine.
Oh, what did I do exactly?
It was nearly 2 when you burst in here, soused to the eyeballs from God knows where. I imagine you've probably forgotten that too. You were muttering something about peace and quiet and then proceeded to relieve yourself on my begonias before stumbling into bed.
Okay, but what's the disgusting and shameful part? You skipped right over that. You just said I went to bed.
Charming. I salute you, O Vice Admiral of the Narrow Seas.
I just, like, Bill has yet to do anything that justifies his attitude. Not a fan of him. Bill is more reminiscent of all the, like, partner characters in the LA Noire oeuvre, who were all just, like, the actual worst people that they could conceive of when making that game. Not the begonias. Maybe the third case is the case of getting new begonias. It's really not outside the realm of reason, considering that we have reason to investigate florists.
Good God, how embarrassing. I'm so sorry, Addie. I don't know what came over me.
I don't either. I've never seen you in such a state, and I pray that I never will again.
Steele's getting worse all the time. I'm not sure why I get 3 choices when they're all essentially the same thing. It won't happen, trust me. It was a one-time mistake, I swear, or I bit off more than I could chew and it won't happen again. That's all. That's one choice. I like this one because it implies she won't ever see it, but it might happen.
You won't see me like that again, ever. Trust me.
What possessed you to go out and get so drunk anyway?
I decided to stop taking the soporific. It was interfering with my ability to focus on cases. I thought perhaps having a drink or 2 would help me sleep, and I got a bit carried away.
I see. Well, I'm at least glad you've stopped taking that terrible medicine.
See, you can only complain so much because you wanted that in the first place?
But trading it for alcohol? This had better really be a one-time occurrence. Anyway, you got another message from Upton. It's there on the table, if you're feeling fit for the world now.
Yeah, if you could just point me to the begonias, I'm sure I'll be ready to go in a couple minutes. Let me read the newspaper first. Harris baby found, suspect in custody. I guess the purpose of this is to act as like an epilogue for your case that probably varies by how you solved it. Anything interesting here? I'll just skim it without reading the whole thing out loud. These investigators determined the thing that we solved all by ourselves. That's fun. Arrested in Pierre, Lorraine. Yeah, like that sounds like France, right? I'm really confused about the geography of this world, particularly because like Poland and Russia are like confirmed to exist. Detectives should be commended for outstanding work they did in finding baby Charles and bringing him home safely. Let this be a lesson to all criminals that our police definitely know what we're doing. Good, great, awesome, great. Hang on. Is this the woman from the first case? Desiree Lathan? No, I don't think so. Found burned to death in her home. Police were called to the scene by a neighbor who smelled smoke, only to find the grisly scene. Miss Lathan was in her bed, body burned to ashes. Circumstances unknown. think that is a different Gascon Grand Dame than we previously dealt with. Hello, Angel. Welcome to the stream. You've missed not much. Mostly me trying to recap and then peeing in the begonias. Okay, there's the serial killer, and then elections. Yep, not reading any of that. Okay, let me get the... We got a letter. I know exactly who it's from. Boredom, a new case has come in, but the police are already investigating. Details have made their way into the newspaper. I won't be able to meet you at Rowan, so here are the details. The deceased is Desiree Lathan. Oh, her apartment is at 840 Right Way. I should have taken a left at Right Way. Good luck.
What does Upton say this time?
That she can't meet me, and that I should go straight to the scene of the crime.
I wonder if that means the police have started to suspect that she's giving you these cases.
She also says news of this case has been made public, and the police are already investigating.
It seems like it will be difficult for him to investigate secretly by going to the crime scene that the police are actively investigating. I mean, I think that we've implied that the chief of police kind of never liked us, and after the incident where our partner died, he wanted nothing to do with us, which is why she can't tell him that we're the one solving the cases that we have solved. But it does still seem weird, right? Because, like, the police aren't able to solve them, and then we solve them. And, like, if they knew it was us, they should, in theory, just, like, be okay with us helping, or rehire us, or whatever. But, you know, bosses be bosses.
Explains the article in the newspaper.
Which one?
The one about Desiree Lathan, the woman who was found burnt to death.
Ugh, that sounds absolutely dreadful.
That somehow feels like an understatement. Glad I didn't burn to death. Oh, I should, like, move... Hang on, give me a second. This one is the active one. Let me move down to, like, where I don't... Here? Do I need to... Somewhere in the corner's fine, right? Some of the dialogue gets up there. I can move it again.
Where's the crime scene?
840 Right Way. It's not too far from here, thankfully.
Oh, yes, thankfully, the arson is, like, right next door. That's good. That's good news.
You're sure you're feeling up to this today?
I'll be fine. The mental exercise will get me back to normal in no time.
Ding.
Well, this is shaping up to be quite the investigation. I should probably get a move on before the police ruin the crime scene any more than they already have.
Good luck, Miles. And stay away from the bars, would you?
Case objective. Stay away from the bars. Yeah, so it does look like the game attaches settings to save files. It just feels like a weird way to do that. Because I didn't adjust it this time.
Have a lovely day, Ed.
I look forward to your return.
That almost sounded sarcastic. Kind of looks like a Cthulhu tentacle thing, but I think it's just stink lines coming off some ashes.
Looks as though we've arrived fashionably late.
This environment looks really cool. I don't think I've talked, like, a ton about this. I mean, not every location that we've been to is, like, necessarily especially noteworthy. But I really like the environment design, generally speaking. I even like these goofy giant details they really like to put in the foreground. I mean, I know that perspective is a thing that exists, but, like, something definitely seems off about the size of this candle by comparison to this couch. I can't quite figure out how that would... what angle... how you would stand in this room and that'd be possible.
Excuse me, sir, but this is an active crime scene. We can't allow members of the public.
Oh, this isn't just any member of the public, Kane.
Oh, good. This guy will, vouch for me.
This is Miles Fordham. He used to be one of us until he killed his partner.
Technically, it was a gentleman ghost who liked Easter lilies who was responsible for that.
Wonderful. Officer Parsons is on the scene. It's a shock the apartment isn't in a shambles.
I hate when the room is in shambles.
Good day to you too, officers.
Fordham? What are you doing here?
Highly irregular. Slap fight.
Ah, Captain Snelling.
Oh,
What
it's
a pleasure.
boss. Traditionally, the person in charge of the police force is known only as boss, as I come to understand it.
That's Chief Snelling now, Fordham. I don't expect you follow the workings of the department much these days, but I'd appreciate the proper address.
Okay, I do feel like I need a clarification from the game at some point. So, like, it's implied that our contact Upton, who is helpful and cool, like, couldn't meet with us out of concern that the department knew that she was giving us leads to close for the police force, which is not doing a good job of their job. But she sent us directly here to where the chief of police was. So, like, how is this supposed to turn out, like, good at all? Or, like, not also tip them off to the fact that she did that? Like, I don't think I understand how that's true.
So nice to see that power hasn't gone to his head.
My apologies, Chief Snelling.
You haven't answered my question. What in blazes are you doing here?
Ah, I'm glad that you mentioned blazes, because I'm here to investigate one. Read about this case in the paper and thought I'd have a look. I figured investigating the crime would actually give it a chance of being solved. Just dropped in to say hello to my former colleagues. Hey, I think none of these are good. I think these are all bad. I'm leaning towards the top one because it sort of immediately deflects from any culpability on the part of Upton. Still not sure why she sent us here. I feel like the second one is highly adversarial to someone whose permission I would need to continue investigating. And the bottom one also kind of seems a bit confrontational. So I guess I'll go with the top one. But I still feel like his reaction is going to be like, why? That's a stupid idea. You can't investigate stuff. You're a civilian.
The story was front page news. I couldn't resist coming to have a look for myself.
There's no respect for police business anymore, damn meddlers. This is an active crime scene, Fordham. Leave the premises immediately.
Is there a password I can say? Admitting you need my help's a little confrontational. I don't feel like being openly confrontational with this guy's helpful. There's, like, people who go for that sort of thing. This guy seems very by the book in his own way. Could try and keep me away, but I'm not giving up. That also doesn't seem great. I guess I will offer to work together, but I'm skeptical that this, at least by itself, would convince him.
We could solve this case in no time if we work together, you know.
We don't need any help. Not even from former detectives. Parsons, I'm going back to the station. I want your report the minute you're done here. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, don't get any funny ideas, Fordham. If you so much as breathe on anything in here, I'll have you arrested for tampering with a crime scene. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. This may come out sarcastic, but I'll still do it.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad that's settled.
Walk, 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 walk. The footsteps in this game are very
it's
deliberate.
reassuring that even in this crazy, ever-changing world, you can always count on Snelling to be a complete ass.
It's quite ironic for Bill to make this observation, as if he weren't right up there with him.
You heard the chief. No snooping around. The sooner you get out of here, the better for all of us.
Right, definitely. I'll super do that. Let me check the mail, though.
An invitation to the Gascon Grand Dame's Ball. It seems it was held 2 nights ago at the Gascon Supper Club. Might be worth looking into, seeing as it's our only lead right now.
Ding. Can I put on this lady's fine hat?
You have to hand it to her. Miss Lathan certainly had a unique taste in fashion. I bet you could see her coming a mile away. Definitely too young to be Miss Lathan. Perhaps a relative? No title. I doubt it's a diary. People rarely leave those things laying out in the open.
I can't look at the very big candle.
Judging by these books, Miss Lathan was quite the fan of poetry. Let's just hope her taste was better than Madame Dupre's.
Begging your pardon, officer.
Yes, what is it, sir?
How much do you think we could get this guy to tell us? He's not the one who hates us, but, you know what? Why don't we first talk about him? Let's build a personal connection and then work from there.
How long have you been on the force, officer?
2 months, sir.
And how's it treating you so far?
This is where I was meant to be.
That's good to hear.
Parsons mentioned you used to be a detective?
I was, yes, for 15 years. It wasn't always easy, but I loved every minute of it.
Parsons goes on about how he's got his eye on becoming a detective, but I don't know if I'd be able to handle it.
Is that right?
Yes. He's up for review. I think he's trying to impress Snelling to improve his chances.
Parsons wants to be a detective? Now I've heard it all. As if he needed more of a reason to be Snelling's lapdog.
Let's talk more gossip. Hey, Haggis, welcome to the stream. You're off work and free until Friday. Nice. I spent 4 days modding Mass Effect and 3 hours playing it before you get bored. What are you planning on modding it to do? And is the answer, make Truck Shepherd playable?
Do you enjoy working with Officer Parsons?
I don't like to talk about my colleagues, sir.
Say no more.
Especially when they're standing right over there.
I understand. Perhaps this isn't the right time to be asking. Is there anything you can tell me about Desiree Lathan?
I'm afraid not. You don't have clearance in this investigation.
And there's nothing I can say to convince you otherwise?
My superiors would be very upset if they knew I was breaking the rules. I'm sorry.
What if they didn't know?
I think the operative phrase in this instance is if they knew. We need to find a way to get Parsons out of here. Maybe we should visit Upton at the station.
I think I'll get much about asking about Snelling, but I don't think it'll cause me a problem.
What was Chief Snelling doing here?
Nothing more than a routine inspection of the crime scene.
Routine inspection? But the Chief of Police only goes to extremely high-profile crime scenes.
I couldn't possibly comment on that, sir.
Thanks for your time, officer.
Not a problem.
Maybe I can trick this guy into going away.
Excuse me, Officer Parsons.
Dating textures and modding outdated mechanics. Interesting. Is there any particular end, or just to make the game more playable for yourself?
Clear off, Fordham. The chief doesn't want you here, and neither do I. You aren't on the force anymore, so you've got to respect the rules, just like every other citizen.
Screw the rules. I have Duel Monsters cards, or something.
He'd be respecting my fist if I were alive, believe me.
I'm not trying to cause any trouble. I just want to ask a few questions.
Well, if it will get you to leave faster.
Why don't you tell me your turn-ons, friend?
You're looking well these days, Parsons. What's your secret?
Secret? I don't know. Maybe something about getting a good night's sleep without blood on my hands? Does wonders.
This guy's a charmer. I bet he gets invited to a lot of parties. Tell me about Detective Guy who I'm going to conspire with.
I hear you're looking to become a detective.
Oh, no,
is that right?
Parsons is him. What's the other guy's name? I already don't remember.
Yes, that's right. Shouldn't be a difficult bar to clear, given the caliber of some former detectives.
The process isn't easy, you know. You have to prove you're the best of the best.
Don't think I'm not aware of that, Fordham.
I'm just saying, standing around here isn't going to do you any favors.
I know that. First chance I get to shake this grunt detail for a shot at some real investigation, I'm all over it.
Parsons' eagerness might be something we can use to our advantage.
So we want to give him a false lead because he's eager to complete the task? Oh,
How long
Kane
has
is
Officer Kane been on the force?
I'm not one to gossip, Fordham.
That's only the second most hypocritical thing I've heard today.
Ask him yourself if you're so interested.
Have you made much progress on this investigation?
Drop it before I have to arrest you for interfering with a police investigation.
Can you tell me something not investigation related about our
What
victim?
can you tell me about Desiree Lathan?
Hey, Silent Yuta, welcome to the stream. How's it going? This is my first time playing the game. I've been enjoying it quite a lot. We're on the third case, the mysterious death of Desiree Lathan, as you probably know.
Nothing.
Because you don't know?
No, because I'm not going to betray Chief Snelling's orders and divulge that information to the public.
Come on, Parsons, you know me. What harm would it do to tell me just a little bit?
Just a little, just some light treason.
Do I have to state the obvious?
Oh, geez, Angel, thank you for gifting us up to Silent Unit. Everyone's so generous here. Thank you so much. Here, have this. This should work. The alerts are questionable at best.
If it were up to me, you'd be in jail for murdering an officer.
You just arrived. No one is safe from having a narwhal companion around these parts, Silent Una.
I wouldn't make such claims without knowing the facts, Parsons. It could get you in serious trouble. It'd be a real tragedy to see your career cut short and you back in the workhouse polishing airship rivets.
It would be a tragedy.
You don't scare me, Fordham.
Rest assured, the feeling is mutual.
We're such good friends. Will you tell me dark secrets about your boss I can use against
Why
you?
was Chief Snelling here anyway?
He's the chief of police, and this is an official investigation. It doesn't take a grand leap of logic.
Probably had a tea time somewhere around here.
Yes, but the chief of police never bothers with a crime scene unless it's of great importance.
Your point?
Does that mean this crime scene is, in fact, of great importance?
You're the investigator, Fordham. I'll leave you to work that one out.
That's all I wanted to know.
Good.
Good. Alright, I guess it's time to go somewhere else and do some chicanery. Big fan of chicanery. So, there's the supper club. This is police, yes, police station. We could go back to our house. I would like to go to the police station because I would like some insight from Upton about the situation.
I didn't imagine we'd be coming back here in this lifetime.
Yeah, I still haven't seen season 6, but Chicanery is just an excellent episode of television. One of the best. From Better Call Saul. Is she just the front receptionist? I thought she was sort of like the assistant to Snelling or something like that. Chicanery, you rapscallion. Fiend. Dastard.
Fordham, have you solved the case already?
Don't I
Interesting
wish? I
that
haven't
you
even
would-
gotten started.
She said that quite out loud in front of everyone. That's very shocking.
Well, I'm here if you need anything. Just be sure not to let Snelling see you.
Is he back yet?
He arrived a few minutes ago. I expect he'll be sequestered in his office today, so you shouldn't have to worry too much.
He's being very bold about this for someone who's trying to conceal
Good
this.
to know. Got a moment up?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
How you doing?
Back to work, I see.
Yes, well, the coffee shop holiday had to end eventually. I'm gonna have to find someplace else to meet you. The higher-ups are getting suspicious.
Yeah, I think they might be listening to you, like, right now.
To be honest, it was a bit wretched there. I won't miss it.
Well then, Mr. Big Bug, you can have the honor of choosing the next place. Under a bridge somewhere, perhaps.
Leads on Bill? Sure,
Have you
why
been
not?
able to find any leads on Bill's death?
Have you?
Not yet, no.
I don't want to get your hopes up, but I may have something.
Oh?
The man you're looking for, he was burgling a flower shop, right?
He was indeed burgling a flower shop.
Yes.
I couldn't help but notice that in the last 2 cases you've had, plants have been used to drug people. It may just be a coincidence, but I also think it's something worth looking out for. If it becomes a pattern, there's a good chance it might be related.
But 2 different people did the drugging.
Also, I believe it was Easter lilies in the first case, which is, like, pretty specific, and has not been involved in the other cases so far. Luckily, Twitch keeps track of the number of gift subs given, so Demolition does not have to keep an old-fashioned abacus or handwritten note. Same goes for Angel, who's up to 67 already? Jeez, Angel. That's a lot. That's a lot for both. Those are very big numbers.
True, but in both cases, they learned from someone else.
It's a stretch.
confirmation
but
of
it's
that?
better than nothing. I'll take it into consideration.
I don't remember the people doing the drugging citing, like, specific reference of where they got that knowledge. Here, let's ask about that mass murderer.
I see the Gazette has caught wind of this supposed mass murderer.
Yes, Snelling has been positively fuming about it. Between that and the Lathan case being publicized on the same day, it's been a nightmare for the department.
Any idea how they got the information?
I don't think anyone in the department has spoken to the press. Maybe they just have some very good reporters.
I think it's ghosts.
So, is it serious? Should we be concerned?
3 murders is nothing to sneeze at, but all the victims have been men in Chumley.
I can't stand that that's how that's pronounced.
If that changes, then things might start getting urgent.
Isn't that just the way of things? You can bet they'd have already caught the bastard if the first body had turned up in Leon.
Tell me about Parsons. I want to sabotage him
I'm
greatly.
having some trouble with Officer Parsons.
Gesundheit. Oh, thank you so much, Haggis. Truly. Oh, just Something in the, it's a high pollen count day, I think.
You and everyone else who's ever met him. What's the problem?
You had 190,000 bits? That you would have to keep track of manually, and also is an extremely big number.
He's keeping me away from the Lathan crime scene.
Plus, the swear jar hasn't even been set up for that long.
Of course. He's one of the most loyal to Snelling.
Any suggestions for how I might get him away so I can look around?
I might have an idea.
Is it drugging him with plants?
There are several reported crimes that haven't been assigned yet, and Parsons is itching to prove his investigative chops.
Oh yeah, you know, demolition is the definition of the hardcore supporter. But, I mean, it's a relatively small community here, but everyone is very supportive.
Jack's forever.
I am grateful for everyone. And no one ever has to donate anything or offer support in that way. I'm just happy to have people to chat with while playing games. And I hope that you're having fun, also. Yes, I want to sabotage him much. Give me the cases.
He'd probably abandon his post for a good enough lead and a chance to impress Snelling.
Up to no good. You impress me.
Wait, is that literally her name, or is he goofing? I mean, we know her name is Upton. I assumed that was a last name. Is her name literally Upton O'Good? Because that's very good, but also extremely fictional, like Ezekiel Dollar. Hey, Mr. Generic Name, welcome. Welcome to the stream. You're just in time. I think this contact we've been working with for many cases may be named Upton O'Good, or maybe we're just very clever with the wordplay. Either way, I appreciate it, and I feel like you might too. Is she perhaps up to no good? Unclear.
Department politics are something of a specialty of mine.
Any
Harris.
updates on the Harris baby?
He's back home and doing well thanks to you.
Nice.
I'm glad to hear it.
You did an impressive job. I admit I was a bit concerned about how you'd fare after months of taking it easy.
No, I'm super
But
good.
I suppose detective work is like riding a bicycle.
I'm not good at riding a bicycle, so I'm inclined to disagree.
It's a guaranteed way to end up with a broken arm?
I feel like there's much point in reviewing the case so
How
far.
about getting Parsons away from the crime scene?
Maybe there is.
All right, these are the, as of yet, unassigned crimes. The body of a young man was found in the Hodgman River by the Gascon docks this morning. A woman named Chumley reported hearing a single gunshot in her neighbor's apartment last night. There was a deadly explosion at a factory in Worcester that may be linked to sabotage. And that's it for right now. Any of those strike your fancy?
Where did it say the gunshot was? I started paying attention to the locations at the second one, but should have been paying attention right away.
Let's hear about the gunshot.
Ethel Williamson reported hearing a sound she described as a single gunshot coming from her neighbor's apartment last night. She said she had been hearing arguments over the past several weeks, and there may have been domestic violence involved. When she knocked on the door, she got no answer, but she said she noticed the distinct smell of flowers.
Intriguing.
Do you think Parsons will be interested?
It seems like something more interesting for us to investigate.
No, actually, let's try another one.
All right.
Give me the details about the factory explosion.
The owner of the Hopkins Steelworks reported an explosion at his factory that killed 2 of his workers. He says he's been getting several threatening letters about his current project.
And so he suspects someone has sabotaged the operation?
Yes, likely the Redites. You think Parsons will be interested?
I think so. I feel like that's the best bet. Hi, Spunny. Welcome to the stream. Hello to you, too. 6-month gift subscription courtesy of Angel has entered month 4. That's many months. Thanks to both of you. Thanks for hanging around, Ice Bunny, and thank you again to Angel. I don't know what the consequences are for choosing the wrong one of these, but I feel like for multiple reasons that one is most likely. It involves multiple deaths. It sounds relatively high profile. It could lead to shutting down the Redditors. I feel like this is the one.
Sounds good. Let's go with that one.
All right, I'll send out the report as soon as we're done talking.
Do you have anything that you know about the case that I don't yet know about the case?
Have a moment to go over my current case?
Also, how's it going, Ice Bunny?
I'm afraid you're on your own this time, Fordham. Walls have ears around here.
Then why have we been talking very openly about our clandestine arrangement?
If they find out I'm helping you, it won't end well for either of us.
But what about for both of us?
Understood.
I'll still be here when you've solved it, though.
That's it for now.
Better get...
Oh, darn.
Oh my god. I like that there's an option to go over here, but that's clearly wrong. That does not seem like the correct thing to do.
Prime Minister Atwood, watching over the department with his signature scowl.
Ooh, I want a signature scowl. Do I have that? I maybe already have that. It looked like I just walked off into a cloud. Okay, let's... I mean, we could try just going back to that crime scene and see if he's standing there.
Damn, looks like Parsons didn't take the bait. He must not have considered that case enough to prove himself to Snelling.
Can I just keep trying, though?
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but
Unfortunately.
nothing worse than a picky investigator. I wish more people were like you.
Thank you.
Thanks, I think. I got a migraine by the weather. Ice Bunny, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that it clears up soon. Both the migraine and the snow. Are we a British colony? Demolition, I feel like by now you know that I have no idea how the geography of this world works. I barely understand the geography of actual real Earth, and this game does not make it easy. It's like, yeah, Russia, Poland, New Britannia, what was the thing that sounded like France? I think it was like a country called Lorraine.
All right, these are the, as of yet, unassigned crimes. The body of a young man was found in the Hodgman River by the Gascogne docks this morning.
Well, I guess Gascogne is high society, right?
A woman named Chumley reported hearing a single gunshot, and that's it. Any of the...
Tell me more about the body found at the docks.
An unidentified man in his 20s was found in the river near the docks. The dock worker who reported it said that the body was bloated and decomposing. It must have been in the river several days. Dr. Edwards performed a post-mortem and determined the cause of death to be a blow to the head.
I see. Certainly leaves a lot of questions.
Do you think Parsons will be interested?
Yes,
Sounds good.
maybe.
Let's go with that one.
All right, I'll send out the report as soon as we're done talking.
No, Leon is supposed to be part of the town, is part of the city we're in. But, like, the last case had something that was, like... I could check the newspaper on my home table. But, like, the lady, like, tried to flee with the baby to, like, someplace, comma, Lorraine. Not, like, Lorraine, comma, France.
That's it for now.
Better get back to it then.
Like, this game uses a weird blend of, like, real-world stuff and also, like, fiction to make it extremely confusing as to how the geography works. Really?
Damn, looks like Parsons didn't take the bait.
Are all of these wrong, or am I just, like, super terrible at this? I'm back to try the third one. Missed the Swedish Christmas market. I'm sorry to hear that. How
Got
is...
a moment, Upton?
It already, like, completely happened? It's not, like, an ongoing thing?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
It's still November.
Nothing worse. All right, these are... A woman named Chumley reported hearing a... And that... Any of those...
Yeah, I'll go with that one. I know, we'll call them poplars.
Let's hear about the gunshot.
Ethel Williamson reported hearing a sound she described as... She said she had been hearing arguments over the past. When she knocked on the door, she got...
Intriguing.
Do you think Parsons...
So was I supposed to guess that this is the one because it has flowers? Because again, I feel like he would care less about that than I do. So we'll try it and see if he goes for it.
That's it for now.
Better get...
I made that look as difficult as possible, assuming it even worked. Okay, we're gonna go to the house after. Okay, somehow that was right.
Looks like Parsons took the bait. Now maybe we can finally have a look around the crime scene.
I did really bad at that.
Begging your pardon, officer.
Yes, what is it, sir?
Tell me all the weaknesses of Parsons, because I hate him and his stupid face.
Do you enjoy working with Officer Parsons?
Well, the Christmas market is a fundraiser, so it's not just like a like a fixture in like the town square or something, like an ongoing seasonal thing.
If I'm being honest, he can be a bit much sometimes.
Trust me, you're not the only one who feels that way. I didn't have much interaction with him when I was a detective, but the few times I did weren't very pleasant.
I could tell he doesn't seem to care much for you.
Yeah, he sucks.
Although I don't think he cares much for anyone except the chief, and that's only because he's the one who gives out the promotions.
Yeah, I know people like that. About the chief.
What was Chief Snelling doing here?
He was inspecting the crime scene.
Yes, but why was he involved? Is there something special about it that would require the chief of police to look into it?
Well, someone thought it might be related to the big case we're not supposed to talk about.
Oh, really? We don't know much about the serial murders, but is arson involved? You do have something like that, but this was 1 weekend only. I'm sorry you missed it. It sounds like that could be fun, but, you know, most important to take care of your health if you weren't feeling
You
great.
mean the mass murderer?
Yes, sir. I could see why the chief is upset that the news has
Yeah,
gotten out.
I can see why he's upset about
And
that.
is it related?
No, I don't believe so. But the news reports have been getting the public on edge.
Of course. The less information there is, the easier it is for rumors to start spreading.
Exactly. Chief Snelling has a lot of fires to put out.
And he's not even part of the fire department. It's all very confusing.
If that's the case, it's too bad he didn't get to Ms. Lathan in time.
Haha, zing. Speaking of...
Is there anything you can tell me about Desiree Lathan?
I couldn't really say.
Come now, I'm trying to help this investigation. Any small detail would be useful.
Well, I haven't really looked over the crime scene too much. It's rather gruesome, you see.
Oh, do you not want to look at it? I could go look at
Is the
it.
body still here?
Yes. What's left of it, at any rate.
Just, I hope that no one took any of those ashes and put them in a vial of antifreeze. That would, you know, cause like a Thanos situation.
Miss Lathan was only identified by the tattoo on her foot.
I
Unfortunate.
see. Has there been much progress here?
Snelling and Parsons examined the scene, that's all I know.
Do you think I might have a look, now that the initial investigation's been
Ooh,
conducted?
that's a big ask. I don't know if he'll go for that.
I'm afraid that's
Yeah.
out of the question, sir. I have my orders.
Yeah, I hear that, Ice Bunny. It's tough to balance, like, I mean, particularly around the holidays, like wanting to go out and do stuff and like see people and get things done for like buying, like shopping for family and whatnot, but also like the situation with the coronavirus that is ongoing despite some people's attempts to the contrary. Earlier this week, my boss sent out a message being like, hey, who wants to do like an in-restaurant gathering with like our entire department for Christmas? And I'm like, no, I very much don't want that. I mean, I feel like the angle I want to play with this guy is that I want to try and help him look good. Like, basically, the thing that Parsons wants for himself is to, like, you know, impress the boss and get a promotion. Like, I want to do that for this guy who's chill and, like, not a total dingus. So, like, I don't think I want to be like, rules were made to be broken. I don't feel like that's this guy's style at all. I promise I won't take long. Kind of doesn't address his concerns. I think the best fit here is, like, there may be something that was overlooked. Just, like, more chefs don't spoil the sauce or whatever. You know, the opposite of how that works.
Officer Kane, I'm trying to aid this investigation. There may have been something overlooked by the others.
If Parsons were to catch you, my career would be over.
Trust me, he won't be back for some time. I swear on my honor as a former member of the New Britannia Police.
All right. I suppose you can go in for a moment, but please
It
be
works!
quick about it.
Thank you, Officer Kane. I promise this will stay between us.
I like that, I mean, I could be completely wrong here. I like that I get the impression, at least, that, like, those types of dialogue choices matter. We have already seen at least a couple instances where, like, if you're not careful about that, like, you can cut off avenues of investigation. And while on some level that's kind of frustrating, I also think that's really interesting. Because, like, there aren't a lot of games that are, like, brave enough to do that kind of thing, because it can be frustrating to players. But, like, I think this game does a good job of, like, setting it up such that, like, your approach is important, and you will be punished if you just carelessly do stuff.
I just love rookie officers. They're so gullible. I once got
But
one
again, I
to
could
shine my
just
shoes
be wrong.
for a week after convincing him it was department policy. Good times.
Man, Bill, you're just terrible.
Thanks for your time, officer.
Not a problem.
Not a problem feels like an understatement there. Let me just go ahead and save because I don't trust myself not to ruin this. Scene. Let's go. Who are we
That's
murdering
certainly
today?
A pungent aroma. I can see why the officer stuck to the living room.
Who are we murdering, and why are we not murdering more? We're investigating the burn murder of a fancy, well-to-do lady from the upper crust of the town. Her name is Madame Lathan. And since we're the police, we're not doing more murders. But, like, I would love to murder the ghost in my head because he sucks. He's rude.
Surprisingly modest quarters for a grande dame. You'd never guess she could buy out the likes of you and me 1,000 times over.
Are you just saying that because she's Ash and not a person anymore?
Ashes to ashes and all that.
Wow, that
Glad I was
sure,
buried.
that sure
Cremation
is
always
bad.
seemed a bit too hot to handle.
Now's not the time for jokes, Bill.
Are you serious? Death is the best time for jokes. Otherwise, it's all just a bunch of boo-hoo-hoo this and wow-wow-wow that.
Ah, Bill. Definitely the worst part of this
And
game.
trust me, there's plenty of that in life. Hell, you'd know better than anyone.
All right. Just shut it for a bit while I look over the crime scene, would you? I need to concentrate.
I don't think Desiree will be able to give us a hand with this investigation.
What'd I just say, Bill?
Bill?
What? Alas, poor Desiree, a woman of infinite riches, of tastes most fancy. Where's all your money now? Come to think of it, that question might be worth answering. Ugh, greasy, fetid, stinking ashes. Who knew the human body was capable of producing such a disgusting byproduct?
How does he know what it smells like? He's a ghost. He's a whole ghost. They look like they're having a good time. Yeah, I mean, like, that seems like a pretty wide open grin, right, Mr. Generic Name? Like, that seems like the kind of expression you have on your face when you're, like, going down a roller coaster. It's not, like, a regular smile, but, like, it seems like a positive, yeah?
I'm surprised the coroner hasn't taken the body away yet.
Probably because there isn't much of a body left to take. Either that, or Dr. Edwards knows better than to deal with something like this.
That's extremely unlike him. He'd jump at the chance to examine this body. Perhaps we should allow him the pleasure.
I hope you're not suggesting what I think you're suggesting.
Oh, no, wait, are we gonna smuggle, like, the body out? That would be so bad. That would be such a bad thing to do.
This one's clean. Well, aside from the fact that the rest of the leg is burned off.
Yeah, it's, you know, potato.
There's a tattoo on her ankle. It says, "Dancing through life." Hate to break it to her, but that dance is over.
I think she knows that, Bill. Look at the ceiling.
Flames must have been fairly high to be able to stain the ceiling like that.
It definitely indicates something. That seems abnormal. It does kind of seem like the stain, like, kind of creeps up the wall without actually having burned the wallpaper or whatever that is, which is a little odd.
Looks like this one barely managed to survive. Pity. It looked like a nice work of art. Odd. Another pile of ashes under the bed. Looks as though whatever she kept underneath got burned too.
That is odd. So far we haven't. There've been like suggestions of certain paranormal elements in the town, like people practicing voodoo and stuff, but like none of it has like so far explicitly like influenced anything, right? It's all been sort of like botany and science. This has something of like a dark ritual feel to it. I don't know. Yeah, get a double thick blanket. It'll keep you warm. But see, in this case, the legs would have burned up too. It's a good thing that the legs were cold, maybe, right? Maybe? I don't know.
Or it could be that whatever was under the bed is what caught fire in the first place.
Seems
Although,
more likely.
there's no evidence of what started it. All that's left is a small piece of cloth. Might as well take it.
Oh, we might as well take it. Yeah, that's good. Okay, yeah, that's ours now.
The cloth appears to have some oily residue on it. Interesting.
Is it interesting, or is everything in this room oily?
There's a letter in here.
I wonder who it's from. August 23rd, 1844.
This just keeps getting more and more interesting.
Dear Miss Lathan, this letter is to inform you that we have received your request to make changes to your beneficiary, as indicated in your last will and testament. Please come to the law offices of Usher and Price at 72 Cadman Street, Worcester, so that we may review the documents and make the necessary edits. Yours, James Usher.
The law firm of Usher and Price isn't too far from here. I think it's definitely worth paying him a little visit.
Cool. Doing some investigating. Is she writing a play over there?
Crumpled up letters. They look to be of the romantic variety.
It's a shame that they're garbage. That suggests that that relationship wasn't going well. But then I guess they won't miss the fact that she burned to death.
They're from the same person. One Peter Andrews.
It's always sad to see a case of unrequited love. I'm thinking we should find out who this Peter Andrews is.
Good idea.
Oh, okay. Oh, I had the letters. Okay. July 15th this year. Dearest Desiree, I offer you my heart, though I am sadly unable to offer you my hand. Oh, that circumstances were different. Why must life and love both be so cruel? I must continue to love and admire you from afar. I only hope these feelings are mutual. Love, Peter. And then September 27th, 1844. My dearest Desiree, once again I must declare my love for you. Though you have not yet responded to any of my letters, I maintain hope that you care for me as I care for you. I remain ever faithful. Call upon me and I will rush to your side. We will embrace as Mr. and Mrs. Andrew at long last. Well, that's weird. Did he, like, kill his wife or something? Because, like, first he's like, circumstances make it impossible for us to get married. And then, like, you know, 2.5 months later, he's like, let's get married. Let's go to Vegas. Can I play Ashokan Farewell while reading these letters? No! Mostly because, while I think I should know that reference, I don't presently. That music is very dramatic.
As much as I like this painting, this isn't the time for art appreciation.
Look, you give me a hot spot, I give you a cookie.
That's a nice portrait of Miss Lathan. Too bad it was damaged by the fire. The area where the artist's signature should be has been singed and is unreadable. Too bad.
But the date is still legible. It's from this year.
That's interesting. A lot of stuff seemed to happen to this woman this year. Anything, like, I already looked at the nightstand and got a letter there. I looked at the body and the space below the bed and the stain and the painting and the garbage. Oh, I didn't check the typewriter, right?
It looks as though Miss Lathan was in the middle of writing something.
It's an article for Brentwell magazine.
Igniting the fires
Igniting
within.
The fires within. A bit on the nose, wouldn't you say?
It's a really unfortunate choice of words. Oh, the music from the Civil War PBS documentary. Okay, I definitely would not know what that's called, but I know what you're talking about, Castleard. Very good. I appreciate you. We're all familiar with the idea of an inner fire, a term usually applied to our sense of passion or determination. But what if that inner fire was of a more physical nature? That is to say, if each of us had the capacity to light real fire within our bodies. Do you think that this is, like, akin to a fake suicide note? That someone, like, made this very suspiciously phrased concept to sort of be like, oh, she was experimenting with fire as, like, an investigation of, like, the literal science, the natural world or whatever.
Classic Brentwell. They have a reputation for making their writers go to extremes for their articles, all for the sake of entertainment.
Did they all burn themselves to death, though?
Perhaps we should pay their offices a visit, see exactly what it was Miss Lathan was doing for them.
I feel like I've checked everything in the room. Will they kick me out now? No. Well, maybe the fireplace is something.
Doesn't look as though this fireplace has been used in a long time. I suppose we can rule it out as the source.
I feel like that's a safe bet because it doesn't seem to be, like, deeply singed, and there's no trail leading there to the bed. That seems unlikely to be related. On a dilly-dally. Let me take a second look at the body, but I think I've otherwise did everything. I think so. I don't think I missed anything here, though. That's like leave.
I don't think Desiree will be able to give us a hand with this.
Bill?
What? This one's clean. Well, aside from the...
It feels like there should be something else I can do.
Come to think of it, that question might be worth answering. Miles, do you really want to go carrying around those stinking ashes in your pocket? It'll take ages to get the smell out.
Yeah, my wife doesn't seem to be mad about everything I do, whether it's reasonable or not, so I might as well do this.
Good point. I'll need to find something to carry them in.
Oh. Does it need to be before I leave the room?
Nothing else of interest in there. Nothing else of interest.
Casebook. So Upton's letter, the article, the 2 love letters, and the one about the will. Burned cloth. I don't have anything that can act as a Ziploc baggie, since he won't let me use the waste bin, although that would be like a highly suspicious thing to do. It's not something in the fireplace that's meant to serve as that, is there?
Doesn't look as though this...
Maybe I have to come back here, or maybe I goofed the chance to do that, but I'm gonna leave.
Was there someone else in the room just now? I thought I heard you talking.
Oh, no. It's just sometimes I think aloud when investigating crime scenes.
I see.
I don't think people would think that's particularly unusual.
Good save. We don't need any more police officers thinking you're insane. Judging by these books, let's just hope her taste...
Actually, we didn't get a close look at this book. Is
the
that...
title?
No, it wasn't just the fact that that guy was standing there stopping us from looking at it. Alright, now I have, like, tons of things to investigate, but I also need to find something to, like, steal some ashes in, which is super chill and normal. Gosh, where do I want to start? I think I want to go to Usher and Price. I feel like that'll speak to motive, which might inform some of our investigation going forward. They have Rice Krispie treats?
Welcome
I'm
to the
hiding
law
them.
offices of Usher and Price. May I
Hold on.
help you?
Oh, this is like super important. Are those Rice Krispie treats in the corner? Do they have those in steampunk times? I want a steampunk Rice Krispie treat.
Good afternoon. My name is Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator, and I'm looking for Jonas Usher.
Although, probably it would kill you and be terrible. But I still want it out of principle.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but Mr. Usher is not seeing anyone today.
Did he go blind? So sorry to hear that.
If it's a matter of urgent legal importance, you could see Mr. Price.
That's a weird dead end. I can't have any of the Rice Krispies, says the game. I am sad.
That pipe really clashes with the rest of the decor in here.
Are we on a boat? Are we on the Titanic? Hate when that happens. Oh, there's not a lot I can interact with in this place,
The
huh?
plaque says it's a portrait of Thomas Usher. Looks like a real go-getter.
There's like 0 hotspots practically. That's so weird.
Begging your pardon, sir.
Yes?
Yes. It's already late. Is mentioning that name a good idea? I feel like there's less risk of starting by asking why he's not seeing anyone. May not get an answer, but I feel like that might inform something as well.
If I may ask, what is the reason for Mr. Usher's refusal to see anyone today?
He has a rather important trial starting tomorrow, and doesn't want to run the risk of falling ill.
Oh, that's interesting. Pre-pandemic, you didn't hear much about people taking that type of precaution. I feel like I occasionally did that sort of thing, but rarely would talk to people about it because I assumed most people would find that odd.
Falling ill?
Mr. Usher is very particular about his health. Very particular.
I see.
Would it be possible to leave him a message? Hey, as someone who does this professionally, this almost never does anything.
Might it be possible to relay a message to Mr. Usher?
Yes, you can leave a message or calling card with me, and I'll make sure Mr. Usher gets it.
Let's ask about Desiree Lathan. I don't think that'll change anything, but we'll see.
Sir, it is of the utmost importance that I speak with Mr. Usher.
And as I said,
But it's in regards to his client, Desiree Lathan. Or should I say, former client.
Miss Lathan found another attorney?
Well, she might have found a few. In the afterlife!
No, I'm sorry to be the one to have to inform you, but she's dead.
Dead? I had no idea.
No? It was in today's newspaper.
I haven't read it yet. Mr. Usher forbids it in the office.
He's very particular about his news. He likes hearing them from a talking fox that definitely exists in this steampunk world, whose geography baffles me.
But surely he's read it. Just because he forbids you reading the paper in the office.
No, I mean he forbids the presence of newspapers in the office. He fears they bring in outside germs.
I see.
In any case, if what you say is true, I'll need some sort of proof.
Maybe like a can of her ashes? Really doubt that's the answer, but it's kind of
I
funny.
suppose just bringing in a copy of the newspaper is out of the question, then. We'll have to find another way.
Do you think that it's more likely for there to be germs in a woman's dead ashes? I don't think I have a
appreciate it.
document
Enjoy the rest.
to provide at this time. That was less productive than I expected. But that's okay. Let's go... I want to go to the magazine. These environments are sweet. They really are.
Here to drop off an article.
Interesting first question.
No, actually, I'm a private investigator. The name's Miles Fordham.
How exciting. You must have so many interesting stories.
You could say that, yes.
Please, come in, come in. I'm Alan Brentwell, owner and publisher of Brentwell Magazine.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
I'm just gonna use your stepladder for no reason real quick.
Useful for getting to those hard-to-reach places. In my case, that's everywhere.
But the stepladder wouldn't be useful to you.
Confessions of a Steam Addict by Ezra Bartley. I think I'm better off not knowing. For Whom the Bell Almost Tolled by Suki Snobs. Fascinating stuff. For the publisher of a sensationalist rag, Brentwell is awfully well read. Assuming he actually has read all those books, of course.
Well, they're actually all just like other sensationalist works, so it's not that impressive.
Plenty. Too bad. I can only begin to imagine how many lurid and salacious articles are kept in those cabinets.
Someone's using
I
thesaurus.
can only begin to imagine. Brentwell has a front row seat to all the horrible things he might want to write about in his magazine.
Well, I guess we'll talk to him after examining his entire office in front of him silently.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Brentwell.
Wonderful! It's so seldom I get to answer questions.
Is this guy Martin Short? I think he might be Martin Short. You know what? He seems to like to answer questions. Let's throw him a softball.
What made you decide to start this business?
I always wanted to be a journalist. I never had much luck with any of the local papers, though. So I decided to start my own. I admit it's not exactly what I wanted, but I like to think Brentwell Magazine has found its own unique voice.
It sounds like that's true.
Voice. More like a gurgling scream.
Cool. Let's ask about the dead lady.
What can you tell me about Desiree Lathan?
Desiree Lathan. Oh, why, she came to me a few weeks ago in response to an ad I took out requesting articles. She told me she had an idea readers would love. We agreed on 3 crowns per paragraph, and she was on her way. Come to think of it, I haven't heard from her in a few days.
Yeah, you're unlikely to hear from her for like a few more days also. Very Jack Frost energy. Yes, very Jack Frost energy. You've also only seen Martin Short as Jack Frost. You really? No, he was Martin Short did Jack Frost, and you're talking about like Santa Claus 3, right? I think that's what you're talking about. By the way, the things I hear about the Santa Claus TV show that's coming out do not inspire confidence in Vasco. She dead.
Are you aware that Miss Lathan is dead?
What? No, I had no idea.
Nani?
I'm not exactly sure. She seems to have burned to death under mysterious circumstances.
Mysterious circumstances?
I mean, burning to death is rarely under not mysterious circumstances. It's interesting that he goes to the trouble of specifying that. Willow is getting a TV show soon. I'll be honest, I never saw the original. But the things I've seen and heard about the new Willow sound really cool. Santa Claus 3. The one where Tim Allen gets to play a fascist. Must have been an easy job for him to do. Yeah, based on the things I hear about the TV show. Yeah, not like a stretch or nothing, huh? I haven't missed anything by skipping Willow. I've heard mixed things. Isn't it kind of like a cult classic? Am I misremembering that? I don't know.
Most of her body was burnt to ash, but there's very little fire damage around her. It's as though she herself just caught fire.
It was on this game, like, streaming this game, like, last week, I think, that I was talking about the one thing I've ever seen on a Laserdisc was, like, a documentary about spontaneous combustion, right? Yeah, because there was a book on spontaneous combustion in the Ghost Club, I think.
Oh, that sounds positively ghastly.
Or possibly even Haunter.
Oh dear.
Is something wrong?
I just remembered. The article she was writing.
Yeah, about that.
God. I hope she didn't go too far with her research.
I like this guy. He's weird.
What exactly was Desiree's article about?
I'm not entirely sure. She merely came to me with the proposal.
She didn't tell you what that idea was?
She did, but I wasn't sure what to make of it.
Please, Mr. Brentwell, stop stalling and tell me what she was writing about.
It was about spontaneous human combustion.
Ah.
What do you know about spontaneous human combustion?
It's bad.
That's the thing. I don't know very much at all. It sounded interesting enough. That's why I accepted Miss Lathan's proposal to write the article about it.
Also, we were engaged. It was a very productive meeting we had.
But what do you know about it?
Only that it's a mysterious phenomenon in which a person catches fire spontaneously and burns to death. It sounds exactly as you described Miss Lathan's condition.
Do you know what Miss Lathan's research on the subject involved?
Only the one contact I gave her, a Miss Angela Maxwell at the Spectre Society in Gascon.
Agus says, tell me, have you heard about the Philadelphia experiment? Are you suggesting that we should picture an egg? Yes, the Spectre Society. I read a book there.
Spectre Society.
Picture an egg.
Shouldn't be surprised to hear that name again.
Are you a member?
Actually, I am.
Then I suggest you do some research
weirdly.
there. There's bound to be something relevant in that curious library of theirs.
So weird. I really wouldn't have guessed that this would come up in a later case, but that's fun. I like that connection. That's good.
Thank you. Perhaps I will.
Oh, did that Twitter poll get resolved then, Demolition? That's unexciting. Picture two eggs. Yes, picture two eggs. Literally one of the explanations that Pewter gives trying to explain a complicated concept with egg imagery in Somnium Files is like, imagine two eggs, and then like the brain of the one egg goes into the other one, and then the yolk goes back into the okay, let's start over.
I don't need a map to get to Bonetown.
I don't need a map to get to Bonetown, but at some point I would love a map to understand the geography of this world for sure. That's a really, like, I love that, like, in no way do you need to have read the spontaneous combustion book in the previous case, or have gained anything useful from doing so, but, like, I love that connection between the cases, and that you revisit that environment. That's cool.
Tell me about Brentwell Magazine.
We're a monthly publication focusing on both fiction and non-fiction pieces. My dream was to have a magazine that was well-respected and educational. But sadly, it seems today's audiences are much more interested in reading about sightings of giant bat creatures or mysterious buried treasures. Such a pity.
Why? Don't hate on buried treasure. Buried treasure is great.
I hear you have a bit of a reputation for making your reporters do questionable things for their articles.
Now, when you say questionable things, are we talking like fear factor eating scorpions, or like...
You are mistaken, Mr. Fordham. I don't force my writers to do anything. They seem to have this notion that the more extreme their research, the more authentic the articles will be.
What sort of extremes are we talking about here?
We had one writer who attempted to heighten the sensation of fear she wanted to express in her story. Damn near decapitated herself by sticking her head through an opening at the clock tower at St. Denis Cathedral. Ugh.
Ugh, indeed.
Thankfully, she made it out alive. It would have been quite the predicament if she hadn't, especially considering that was our most popular article last year.
Frown.
Oh, people have such odd taste.
I like that this guy is willing to publish that stuff because it's what the people want, but that he wishes he could do better. Like, it's an interesting... Like, it would be really easy to make this guy just like a stereotype, and he's like, oh, he'll do anything for money. But I kind of like this version where the guy's like, I mean, I don't love it, but I wanted to have a newspaper.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Brentwell.
The pleasure is all mine.
I also just, like, generally like... There's, like, a good, like, range of characters in this game. There's, like, really despicable people. There's, like, really, like, quirky people you don't know if you should trust. There's, like, you know, kind of standard folks and people who are set upon by tragedy. It's just, you get, like, a good cross-section of people and emotions and stuff. Stomp, 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 stomp. Walking is very deliberate in this game. The second rule of Ghost Club is that you should come back for seconds. Hello, Angela, what's your name? I assume I should talk to her rather than look at the book,
Could I ask you about some things, Miss Maxwell?
Certainly, darling.
Are you familiar with a woman named Desiree Lathan?
Yes, she came to see me just last week.
Oh, really?
She told me she was doing research for an article she was writing for Brentwell magazine.
What sort of research?
She asked me a few questions and looked at my books. That was all. She wasn't here for very long.
And what was she researching?
Something about spontaneous human combustion, I believe.
Is this like the only place in the city that there's like a book about this? It's a little weird. She died.
Did you know that Desiree Lathan is dead?
What? My God, no. I didn't. What happened to her?
Oddly enough, spontaneous human combustion.
She was found burned to death in her bed.
How awful.
Do you have any idea how this may have happened?
There are a number of possibilities, but if she was in the middle of researching spontaneous human combustion, and then to have this happen, it can't be a coincidence.
I mean, by the very definition of spontaneous human combustion, it would be spontaneous. As a result, it could be a coincidence.
Are you suggesting she herself was a victim of spontaneous combustion?
One need only compare the circumstances of her death with the facts, darling.
That's a simplistic view.
She can't be serious, can she?
Ding. That constitutes a clue somehow.
What can you tell me about spontaneous human combustion?
I'm not overly familiar with the subject, but I do have a book about it on the shelf back there.
You should probably just look at it again.
You are welcome to look at it if it will help.
I may, but I'd like to know what your understanding of it is.
Well, I believe it is when the human body inexplicably catches fire and burns.
Uh-huh, that's pretty much it.
It usually occurs among elderly women who drink to excess, and very little fire damage is caused around the body. That's really all I know, darling. It's not a very agreeable subject for study now.
Then, like, why do you have, like, a whole book on it, then?
Thank you for the information. It was very enlightening.
It was my pleasure, darling.
Real quick, read that book again, I guess. Seance, Big Squid, Voodoo.
This all sounds strangely familiar, but spontaneous human combustion can't be real, can it?
You're a ghost, Bill! Stop being incredulous of everything! Let's just read it again. Spontaneous human combustion is a highly controversial subject, but remains popular among scholars and aficionados of the occult and unexplained. The term refers to death from a fire originating without an apparent source or external ignition. The fire is believed to start within the body. In the 1823 book Medical Jurisprudence, commonalities of recorded cases are as follows. Chronic alcoholics, elderly females, hands and feet usually fall off. which is mostly true in this case, but one of the hands burned for some reason. Fire caused very little damage around, and the residue is greasy and fetid ash. Gross. Mostly everyone believes spontaneous human combustion is a product of alcoholism. Anything I'm supposed to glean from that picture in particular? It's pretty low res. Like a cat and two guys. It looks like stopping like an animatronic Disney ride, like Pirates of the Caribbean, but like instead of bidding for the redhead, spontaneous human combustion and what looks like a lot of smoke.
Then again, sometimes the simplest explanation is the correct one.
I think my book has updated a lot. Angel's testimony suggests that Desiree may have been a victim of spontaneous human combustion. I guess you could call that a clue. Report to Upton and declare Desiree Lathan's death the result of spontaneous human combustion. Wow, that's really interesting. I like that you could just do that. You just like come here and read a book and you're like, I guess she's spontaneously combusted. Case closed. Part of me kind of wants to do just like a worst possible run of this game, where just like the first time you get a lead, you're like, yeah, that probably is it. It seems to me like there's probably more to it, at the very least. Some information about how or why that happened. I don't assume
think there's anything she...
Yeah, okay. Anything in the guest book of interest at this point?
There's quite a few members in this group.
Oh, no, okay.
I'll be going now.
May the spirits guide you to that which you seek.
They don't know anything about exercising built? That's okay, that's fine. Can I have this? I would really like this.
Nobody's bothered clearing this table yet, it seems. Well, if no one's cleaned up, you might as well do them the favor.
Okay, good. I have that, and now I can steal some ashes, and I don't know why I want them. But I do want some stinky grease ashes. This woman didn't perhaps fall asleep smoking, like everyone in olden times did all of the time. I mean, that comes up a lot in research of spontaneous human combustion, but for some reason, my recollection is that, like... I mean, for one, there's the suspicious aspect that, like, it's usually, like, cases of spontaneous human combustion, in as far as you're willing to entertain them, it's never like a whole apartment burned down. It's just like the body burns up. And like that's part of what's weird about it and why there are people who believe that it's like a mysterious occulty thing. But like I do believe that there's a supposed connection to consumption of alcohol. But I don't know that there's any particular alleged connection to smoking, despite the obvious reason to suspect it. Did I come here?
Excuse me, miss?
Oh, well, hello there, handsome. I've never seen you around here before. Care to join me for a drink?
I am afraid I'm married. I should make it clear that I'm married, but this it's very nice of you.
You're very kind to offer, but I must decline. My wife wouldn't appreciate it.
Who says she'd have to know?
Okay, that's a different concern. If it's not falling asleep smoking, perhaps it's the wrath of God. Yeah, I mean, that's this sort of thing happens, Haggis. We can't rule it out.
Believe me, she'd know. She's very perceptive.
Pity. Seems like all the good ones are already taken.
You don't know anything about me. I'm haunted by the ghost of a guy I got killed.
The name's Miles Fordham. And you are?
Charlotte Robineau.
Pleasure. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
I suppose not. It would help pass the time.
The Grand Dame's
Were
Ball.
you here for the Grand Dame's ball the other night?
Of course. We all were. Well, except for Laura. Terrible business.
You mean Laura Dupre?
Yeah.
The very same. Have you met?
In fact, we have.
I have. In fact, I investigated her attempted murder.
Is that right?
I did. It didn't go great for her, though.
I heard she ended up in jail for torturing her servants.
Accurate.
Yes, it was quite disturbing.
It's interesting. Like, the previous 2 cases didn't have a lot of overlap, but now we're sort of seeing things come together in a way that's really interesting.
I didn't think Laura was capable of such a thing. She always seemed so kind.
It's always the quiet ones or whatever.
I guess we all have our dark secrets.
Does that apply to you as well, Miss Ravenel?
If I told you, then it would no longer be a secret, would it?
Fair point. Do you know Desiree Lathan?
I knew her, yes.
When did you last speak to her?
Oh, it's been ages. She and I haven't had much to do with each other for a while.
Is that because she burned to
Why
death?
is that?
It's really not important. We just didn't see eye to eye on a few things.
Was she at the Grand Dame's ball?
Yes, she was. Drinking up a storm, as usual. Desi really knew how to enjoy herself.
How much did she drink?
Oh, I don't know. She used to outmatch me, and I can handle quite a bit.
Oh, you were watching about unexplained phenomenon said most victims were drinking alcohol, but also smoking. It's still, yeah, I mean, like, I'm not here to support the notion of spontaneous human combustion in real life or anything, but, there is still the weird element that, like, yeah, it's very natural to assume that, you know, they fell asleep smoking and the fire started, but, like, why did the whole place not burn down? Finding those factors, God is punishing them for hedonism. Isn't that always the way? Asking about this woman's self feels dangerous. Let's do it anyway.
Tell me a little about yourself.
Why, Mr. Fordham, I hardly know you.
And yet you propositioned me moments earlier.
That said, I'm always open to making new friends.
I've made a mistake!
Watch out, Miles. I think she's getting ready to pounce.
Oh my god, you can compliment. Oh my god. This game will actually let you have an affair, won't it? Like, for sure that's a thing this game will let you do.
What can you tell me about Desiree's death?
Just what I've read in the papers. She burned to death. It's horrible. She certainly didn't deserve to die in such a gruesome way.
Well, except for the hedonism.
Did she have any enemies?
No. Everyone loved her.
Except you?
Mr. Fordham, I said we haven't had much to do with each other. That doesn't mean I didn't care for her.
Reasonable distinction.
Now, please, let's drop the subject.
Oh, okay. Does she know anything about Peter Andrews? 'Cause I don't.
Is the name Peter Andrews familiar to you?
Peter Andrews? Is he still around?
I heard he got cancelled.
I'd be able to tell you that if you told me who he is.
He's desperate. That's who he is. A lovesick fool who is obsessed with Desi. Sent her love letters all of the time.
At least once every, like, 2 or 3 months.
Well, you know where I can find him?
Why would you want to?
Because I want to question him about Miss Lathan's death.
I suppose that makes some sense. All I remember Desi telling me is that he worked at the Bank of Vespuccia, a clerk or some such. Imagine.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
So much investigating. I would not...
Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to your drink.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Just in case at some point we want to see what happens if we flirt with this woman, I'll drop a save here.
These are all high-end foo-foo liqueurs and cordials. You couldn't pay me to drink that rubbish.
I couldn't because you're a ghost and you can't drink. Also, has anyone actually produced something called foo-foo liqueur?
That painting depicts a hand dropping a bunch of blood-soaked silver coins into another hand. Definitely sets the bar for the type of people who come here, I'd say.
These locations I can investigate. Where's the law firm? I could go back to the crime scene and try to get some gross ashes. Hey, do me a solid. Can I, just like real
Nothing
quick...
new to ask?
I think he'll let me do this.
I'm afraid I need to have another look.
All right. but please be quick about it.
Okay. I just want to scoop some ashes. Like, don't worry about it. It's, like, very bad and gross.
Oh, Miles, really? You're going to carry the ashes around in a pewter mug?
It's vital to the investigation that we find out exactly what happened to the body. If anyone can tell us for certain, it's Dr. Edwards.
Fair enough. I suppose this isn't the most unpleasant thing you've carried around before.
Yes, I've carried you around in my subconscious mind for some amount of time.
Remember that time we had to go looking for that murder victim's missing head?
That was a victim's head.
I'd really rather not, actually.
Hey, Ditto, you're just in time. This is Desiree Lathan. It's a pleasure to meet you too, I'm sure. How you doing, Ditto? We're investigating a case of spontaneous human combustion, and, I have another place to go now, don't I? Now that I got those.
Yikes forever.
Yikes for like a pretty long time, for sure.
Ugh. The smell from the bedroom is getting worse. I don't know how much longer I can stand it.
About that. Actually, we relatively recently dropped a save. I want to go talk to my character's wife and see if she notices the horrible smell and is critical of me, because that sounds great. Did you figure out the thing that was going to explain everything? We don't know the cause of death yet, but I do think that that's pretty likely, Ditto. She was like writing an article for like a paper, and she had like a breakthrough, and she's like, of course, I know how to explain everything. And then her head exploded, and then most of her burned, but her legs and her right hand are left behind. So. Yeah, I really do want to go talk to my wife and see if she's like, you smell like death.
Dearest.
Hello, Miles.
Like horrible. Yeah.
Miles, did you leave the gas on again?
No, dear. I've just got some pungent evidence on my person.
Would you like a kiss?
Well, get it out of here before you stink up the place. My plants can only do so much.
Addie?
What is it, Miles?
Let's apologize.
Addie, please know that I'm deeply sorry for my behavior last night. I'll do everything I can to make it up to you. Would you like me to get some new begonias?
I don't need pretty flowers or pretty words, Miles. I just want things to go back to how they were. That's really all the apology I require.
Compliment her.
You're looking especially lovely today, Addie.
Miles, don't flirt with me. Not now.
Is it rude to flirt with someone when you smell of, like, burnt rich lady? My mom in chat says, there was a researcher who was able to recreate rapid combustion of the body without burning the surrounding area by adding acetone to the rendered pig flesh he burned. He theorized that almost all known victims of spontaneous human combustion were elderly people who were unwell, and apparently acetone is produced by the bodies of people who are not well. So combining alcohol and acetone, that is really interesting. That's really interesting. I'm surprised I've never heard about that. I suppose that came from the show you were watching that you mentioned earlier. I wonder if that will somehow reflect on the steampunk case.
I wouldn't push my luck with her, Miles. She hasn't completely forgiven you.
Desiree Lathan burned
Was
to death.
Desiree Lathan a client of yours by any chance?
No, but plenty of the other grand dames used to gossip about her.
What sort of things would they say?
Usually they'd comment about how much she'd had to drink the night before. I got the impression she was quite the tippler. I hope you're not planning on following her example.
That would require me to burn to death in our bed.
Then I stand by my previous statement.
I reiterate that. Compliment her again. That sounds like a trap.
What have you been up to lately?
Nothing particularly exciting. My usual clients have been scheduling appointments, and I've been trying to get some new ones as well. In my free time, I've been catching up on my reading.
Anything good?
Yes, the conclusion to the dissembling mechanism was just published in Brentwell magazine last week.
What's that?
James Penstroke's latest serial. I wanted to read it to you, but you haven't been around much lately.
That's sweet. She wanted to read us a story. That's like a fun little thing.
Perhaps I'll take a look now that I can actually concentrate again.
Yes, you could read it to me. I wouldn't mind hearing it again.
That's fun, too.
It would certainly be a nicer way to spend your time than going out drinking.
I'll let you
go. What? Hey, what's
I shouldn't
like
be gone too long.
Take care of yourself out there.
What's the worst place of all the places we can go while smelling like a literal corpse? We got the magazine. That's a weird one. Should I just go everywhere until the game punishes me and then I reload the save? Is that what my life looks like? So I was already at the crime scene with the ashes and got a response there. I do want to go to the law firm. That sounds bad.
Oh, that smell! I thought I told Mr. Usher to throw away that sandwich.
If I try to talk to him with this in my pocket, will it change any dialogue?
Begging your pardon.
Yes?
Oh my god! Okay, no, hold on.
I appreciate your
Enjoy the rest.
Hold on. We're gonna make some really bad decisions, but before we make those bad decisions, okay, so just in case this goes, like, extremely badly, which it, like, pretty likely to do. You want proof? How do you like them apples?
You said you wanted proof of Miss Lathan's death? Well, these are her ashes.
Oh, what is wrong with you? Get out of here this instant, or I'll have you arrested.
What the hell were you thinking, Miles? Have you gone insane?
I got an achievement. You could see it because the game is weird. I got a trophy for that. Apparently I'm an ash hole. I feel like I should not leave the game in that state. But we're gonna keep going around showing the ashes to people. Jason, indeed. Let's go talk to that drunk lady who wanted to, like, flirt with us. She's still feeling flirty?
What is that? I think the water closet may need a cleaning.
What happened? Hey, what happens if I compliment her while I smell like a dead corpse lady?
Excuse me.
Ugh, get away from me, you horrid
Oh
man.
no,
You
I'm
smell
making
like
him horny.
rotting flesh.
Demolition. Hey, Arcadius. Hey, you joined at just the right time, Arcadius. So we're currently investigating a case of spontaneous human combustion, and as a matter of the investigation, I've come upon a tankard filled with a greasy pile of human remains that I'm now carting around to every location on the map to see how everyone appreciates it. This lady doesn't care for the smell that I now generate.
You're not gonna make too many friends with those ashes in your pocket, Miles.
Yeah, but are you happy to see me? I'll just do one more reload after I've, like, talked to everyone. So I'm here. Let's talk to Brentwell.
Goodness, what a stench! When did you last wash?
Oh, that? No, I've just got these ashes of a burned woman in my coat.
I see. I'm sure you've got your reasons for doing so.
That's very cool and normal.
If you'd ever like to write an article about the experience, I'll be glad to take a look at it.
I like this man so much.
I don't think there's really anything else worth asking him about.
Oh, alright, fine. So, like, this is the stuff I love about video games. Like, you could, like, it would be horrible to do something like this in person. But I love that, like, video games will often be like, why not? Like, you got gross ashes. You could go to literally every environment in the whole game and offend people. Let's talk to our good friend at the Ghost Club.
Welcome back, Mr. Fordham. Oh my. I sense the foul stench of the tomb.
Thanks, I've been trying.
It must mean a spirit is trying to make contact.
I don't think there's any...
May the spirits guide you.
May the spirits guide you to a bath or something. Good lord. Let's see.
I might get wet down there.
I sure hope not. I mean, to each their own, but that doesn't sound great. Let's go to the police station.
Dear Lord, what is that smell? Did you step in something out there, Fordham?
Private investigation is a dirty job, Upton. You know that.
I don't think I have anything else, like, relevant to say at this point.
Got a moment?
Yes?
Oh yeah, I can wrap up the case, which is great. Comes back here.
That's
Hold
it for-
on.
Better get.
I think mortuary access is what actually leads me to the place where I'm supposed to get rid of them. You refuse to believe the ashes are that stinky. Well, for one, Haggis, we're carrying them around in like basically just like an open top like tankard from like a German bar or something. So like whatever smell it has, it's not contained. And it's not a vessel that's particularly meant for carrying them either. But also they've gone to quite the effort to point out how like greasy and unpleasant the remains are, which like probably is true. The only place we haven't been is to the bank, and we haven't even like gone to that place. So let's see how bad that impression is.
Dear Lord, what is that smell? Mr. Fordham.
Ah, Mr. Dupre. Good to see you again. Is all well with you?
Absolutely. Everything is wonderful. Because of you, the city has finally seen Laura Dupre for the monster she is. I cannot thank you enough.
This chapter is so interesting to me. So, like, if you do something stupid and end that first case, like, the wrong way, you just come here and he's like, I guess I still exist. The combination of scorched human remains and currywurst isn't ideal. Like, you get it.
I suppose you're welcome?
Now then, is there anything I can help you with?
Yes, I'm looking for Peter Andrews. I was told he worked here.
That's right. His desk is just over there.
Thank you, Mr. Dupre. Lovely seeing you.
Can I tell him about the remains in my pocket? I'm not actually happy to see him.
We haven't got anything else to ask him about.
Okay, before I actually talk to this guy, I'm gonna, like, actually load up the save and get rid of the ashes and, like, not parade around like a lunatic. But that was a great deal of fun. I appreciated that very much, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. So let's just go straight to the police station and dispose of them.
Dear.
Private investigation is a dirty job, Upton. You know that. Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but
I just love when games let you do stupid stuff.
Would it be possible for me to access the mortuary?
the mortuary? What for?
I'd like to consult with Dr. Edwards.
All right, but be careful. Make sure you don't let Snelling see you back there.
Is there like a stealth minigame?
That's
Goodbye.
it.
Better get back.
Whee! up, my
Dr.
homie?
Edwards' lab was always a fascinating place to learn about death. A bit less so now that I'm quite the expert.
I like the skull over here. Very sciencey skull.
Oh, did I miss cleaning up some bit of that last corpse? Oh, Fordham, what brings you down here?
Hello, Edwards. I was wondering if I could pick your brain.
The one in this jar?
Yes, of course. There's one in a jar over there, and I may have another one around here somewhere.
He gets it.
That coroner humor never gets old, does it?
It's like Skull Joke, but it's for the loose body parts that you literally have in the room.
Anyway, let me know what you want to discuss. This fellow's not going anywhere.
Pardon me, Edwards.
Yes?
I've got these human ashes from a crime scene.
Straight to the point. I knew I liked you for a reason, Fordham. Who do they belong to?
Desiree Lathan. She was a Gascon Grand Dame.
Oh, of course. I heard about that case. She was found burned in her home, wasn't she?
That's right.
I meant to go over there later today.
Well, then I suppose I've saved you the journey. Would you have a look at these?
Does this mean you're officially on the case?
Well,
Not as such. In fact, I'd appreciate it if you didn't mention I'd been here.
I guess says coroner humor never gets old. And neither do his patients.
Ah, clandestine operation. Sneaking around under Snelling's nose.
I don't have much of a choice. I'm pretty much persona non grata around here these days.
Well, you're always welcome in my mortuary. Preferably while still breathing, of course.
Aw, kind of you to say. Could have left it at the other thing. Probably.
Anyway, I'll just take those ashes off your hands. I'm sure your social life will soon improve.
Yes, I was making quite the impression.
This is an Interesting choice of container.
Look, I'm an adventure game protagonist. I have limited options.
It was either that or carry them around in my bare hands.
Well, I'm a bit busy right now, but I should have something for you within the next couple of hours.
That seems improbable, but sure.
I do realize the information won't be exclusive to you. I'll have to pass it on to the detectives on the case.
Naturally. That just gives me more of an incentive to work quickly.
Would he be able to determine anything about the cloth? I don't know.
I found this piece of burned cloth at the crime scene. Could you take a look at it for me?
This is from the Lathan case?
It is, yeah.
What do you need me to look at exactly?
It appears to have some oily residue on it.
Interesting. I'm afraid I have my hands full right now, but you can feel free to use my workbench if you'd like.
Ooh, some sort of oily minigame.
To do what exactly?
Surely they taught you something about basic chemical analysis when you worked here.
Dude, I was a cop. You think they trained me to do stuff? I don't think you understand how cop works.
Yes, well, I always let Bill handle the more technical aspects of our cases.
A real pity I'm not around to help you anymore, isn't it?
But I'll have a look and see if something comes back to me.
Tell me your likes and dislikes.
Busy down here, Edwards?
Oh, you know me. I've always got my hands in someone.
Edwards always did have a way with words.
This postmortem was just a formality, really. The victim died of a gunshot wound to the head.
Oh, this is the case we sent the other guy on, right? Maybe?
Last week, though, we had a real kicker. An old man was brought in, and though he appeared quite dead, I was told that he'd been in a trance for over half a year. Apparently, he was hypnotized right at the point of death, and somehow managed to remain alive, in a fashion.
There's a Night Gallery episode that's a little bit like that. The oily residue seems to be like oil. Yeah, I'm not totally sure what we're gonna get from that, Alcadius. Yeah. I feel like you may be onto something.
In any case, when I began performing the exam, his entire body decayed into a putrefied mess within minutes. It was fascinating.
That's not like the first word I'd use to describe that.
Should you really be giving me these details, Edwards?
Oh, hell, I don't mind telling you, Miles. It's not like you're going to go tell Snelling.
Be an insane thing to do.
Besides, you're the only one who's come to see me all week. Dead people make lousy conversationalists.
Hey, I take offense to that statement.
No, accurate.
So, Snelling got promoted to chief, did he?
Yes, not too long after you left. Personally, I think he took advantage of your situation to change things around here.
Was it really that much of a shock? Bill and I weren't exactly the most well-liked detectives on the force.
But you were respected. You two solved over 350 cases in 15 years. You were an institution.
Damn right we were. It's so easy for people to resent their more successful peers.
Ah, Edwards. Nice to know someone missed us. You didn't examine Bill after he died, did you?
Ha! He wishes.
No, there was nothing inconclusive about his death. He died from impact after falling from the roof of a building. Why, was there something else I should have looked into?
No, I was just curious.
As fond as I am of Edwards, it would have been a bit much for him to go poking around my insides.
Thanks. That's
I mean,
all
they're
I
not
needed
really
to know for the moment.
yours anymore.
Anytime, Fordham.
Right, workbench. That's a typewriter. That's
I
not a
wonder if
workbench.
Edwards ever got around to fixing this typewriter. The letter E being out of alignment always made his reports a nightmare to read.
Why am I concerned that this feels like it's going to be relevant to this or another case? Night Gallery, there's a callback. It sure is. I'm surprised someone other than myself and my mom also in chat knows what Night Gallery is. That shit was legitimately spooky, man. Like, woof. This book. I guess I don't still have the literal. I think they were like handwritten too. All of these notes. Crooked E though, huh? Ah, workbench.
It's been ages since we got to do any type of chemical analysis. This will be grand.
Dr. Edwards, could you remind me what it is I'm meant to be doing?
Yes, of course. Go ahead and get as much of that oily residue from the cloth into the petri dish.
I feel like "as you can" is missing from that sentence. Gross.
Good. Now add some of the chemical reagent in the red bottle to the dish.
What are these sound effects? Whoop, 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 whoop.
Aha! The oil turned orange.
Yes! The reagent has caused a chemical reaction and changed the oil's color. Isn't science fun?
Quite. But how does this help me?
Good question.
I have some samples of the most common types of flammable oils on the shelf. Go ahead and add them to the test tubes. Good. Now simply check each one with the reagent to see if you can find a match.
And if I don't find one?
Then I suggest going out and looking for more oil samples.
Ah.
Miles, the petri dish is...
Oh, wants me to... These sound effects are so goofy! What? Come on. What?
Too bad. I would have bet on it being coal oil.
Am I too inexperienced with eyedroppers, or is that just ridiculous?
Yes. There's no mistaking the aroma of kerosene, is there?
Yeah, definitely Three Stooges, Jakey.
So much for kerosene being the culprit.
It was like a macabre, humongous, interactive game. It's a shame that something like that doesn't exist.
Well, oil be damned. Looks like that's not a match. Oh, you love it.
Alright, so we have to go find some other thing and then prove it turns orange when we put red on it. What does this do, though?
Looks like ammonium chloride. Won't be of much use to us in this experiment.
So we might come back here later, I guess, maybe? I don't imagine I need much else here.
Well, at least he died with a smile on his face. Sort of. Looks rather fresh. There's a plaque at the base of the jar that says H. Putnam. I'm pretty sure I saw Edwards weighing his lunch on this once. I remember when Edwards used to keep his collection of preserved reproductive organs on this shelf. He must be getting soft in his old age.
Or at least those organs were.
Or perhaps that's exactly what happened to his collection. This provides the room with just the right amount of heat, unlike the incinerators in the crematorium. Talk about overkill. It's important to keep your hands clean when dealing with dead bodies. After all, you never know where they've been. Until after the post-mortem exam, anyway.
That one's a good point.
I wonder if Edwards ever got around to...
Oh, there's about the typewriter.
Edwards keeps assorted bottles and specimens in there. Nothing too remarkable that I can see. Seems to be
May I have
empty
your
for
bucket?
now. That's most definitely a good thing. I feel sorry for the poor slob who has to clean that out. Not a stitch of clothing on him. As if having your torso ripped open and poked around inside weren't bad enough. There truly is no dignity in death.
I really feel as though someone who had died would have, like, a more objective appreciation for this.
I don't think the good doc... Nice pair of legs.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Alright. Let's get out of here. I don't know where I'm gonna find, like, a grease sample, but I'm gonna do it. You just watch me. I should go to the bank, because I haven't actually gone to the bank.
Mr. Fordham.
Ah, Mr. Dupre. Is all well with you?
Absolutely. Everything is wonderful. Because of you, the city has finally seen Laura Dupre for the monster she is.
I suppose you're welcome?
Now then, is there anything I can help you with?
Yes, I'm looking for Peter Andrews.
That's right. His desk is just over there.
Thank you, Mr. Dupre. Lovely seeing you. Mr. Andrews.
Yes?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. May I ask you a few questions?
Yes, I suppose that would be fine. Have a seat.
I'd rather stand, if it's all the same to you.
I'd prefer not to animate that kindly, thank you.
Now then. Do you know Desiree Lathan?
Desiree Lathan? No, I can't say the name rings any bells.
Curious! Press X to doubt!
You say you don't know Miss Lathan. Would you care to explain these?
Take a look at
Why
these,
are they
Andrew!
crumpled up? Did she throw them out? And why do you have them?
Well, she's a little dead to come to the phone right now.
I just love catching people like this.
Relax, Mr. Andrews. Let's take this slowly. Now, I can assume by your reaction that these are your letters?
Yes, they are.
So why did you lie about knowing Miss Lathan?
I promised my wife I would cut off contact.
So he is still married. It seemed like he was married to begin with, but then he started talking about marriage, which was peculiar. Seems to have come down with a sudden case of death. Yes, we have the top medical examiners in the field working on it.
But you clearly didn't. The most recent letter is from 2 weeks ago.
Did she hire you?
Your wife? No, that's not why I'm here.
Ah, well, that's somewhat of a relief then.
Do want to know about that wife. Desiree died, though. She dead.
Were you aware of Miss Lathan's death?
What? Desiree is dead?
Yeah, I got you so good.
No.
She was found burned to death in her bed.
You're lying. You have to be.
I'm afraid I'm not, Mr. Andrews.
Oh, Desiree.
Do you have any idea who might have wanted to kill her?
No, she was a marvelous woman.
Well, I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news, but at least you won't have to worry about writing any more letters.
That isn't funny, Mr. Fordham.
Yes, it was. Don't listen to him.
Tell me about your wife. Is she single? I don't know why I thought that was so funny. It's like a really stupid joke, and then when telling it, I was like, that's a really funny joke, Vasco. You're so good.
So your wife knows about your correspondence with Miss Lathan?
Sure doesn't sound like it.
Well, I don't know if you could really call it correspondence. Desiree never wrote back. But yes, Peggy, that is to say, Margaret found out shortly after we married.
Exactly how many letters did this bounder send?
Awkward.
I wonder?
I'm glad that someone laughed at it. Thank you, Arcadius.
At first, I tried to make it out that she was just a friend, but she found one of the more intimate ones while I was writing it.
My dude, you lack chill.
I see. And what was her reaction?
What do you think? I still have the scar from the glass that she threw at me.
So she was indifferent.
You're still married?
Oh, yes. Margaret comes from a very strict Catholic family. They would sooner she die than divorce.
Cool.
It hasn't been easy. She makes sure to take full advantage of the situation. Always buying herself the most expensive jewelry and spending a fortune on food for those wretched cats.
This guy's having a good time.
I swear, they're better fed than I am.
Where might I find Mrs. Andrews? I'd like to speak to her.
Our house is at 713 Longfellow Street, just at the edge of Gascon.
I mean, I guess he's like cooperating with the investigation, but it seems wild for him to just feel like, yeah, you can go ahead and talk to my wife about this thing I hate.
But I warn you, it's a goddamn menagerie she's got. I'd stay away if you're averse to being covered in animal hair.
I really like the writing in this game. I like the writing in this game a lot. It has like a distinct subtlety to it, but the characters are so three-dimensional, and like some of them you only have like one conversation with. I just love how much he hates those cats. Like, it's so easy to just be like, oh, I just hate those cats. But I love that this guy's like, dude, it's a menagerie and I hate it. The cats live better than I do and I can't escape my prison. Like, just, it's good. It's great.
I'll take my chances.
Ding. Man, this game is great. Tell me about your turn-ons, bro.
Exactly what is your role here at the bank?
I'm the manager. I handle the new accounts, organize finance, that sort of thing.
Have you been here long?
Coming up on 17 years.
So no.
Is this at all relevant to your investigation?
So no.
Anything could be, Mr. Andrews. Thanks for your time, Mr. Andrews.
I tried using one of these automatic money dispensers once, but I nearly got my arm stuck inside. They still got a long way to go.
I think you were using it wrong.
What an absurd contraption. Imagine needing all those extra bits and bobs just to tell the time.
It's peculiar to me how clearly Bill's character was written to, like, be British. He uses a lot of, like, Englishisms, but, like, has, like, a super American accent. It's you, Zach, now in Salt Lake City. Well, welcome to Salt Lake City, I somehow say from Los Angeles. Also, welcome to the stream, Zach. How are you doing? You missed. It's been a pretty wild stream. We're investigating the death of a woman who seems to have died of spontaneous human combustion, and we like scooped up a bunch of her ashes into a glass and then walked around to every character we could talk with in the whole game, and they all got very upset that I was bringing smelly dead people with me. It was a good time. You're doing fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. I'm doing pretty well. Thanksgiving coming up this week, which, as a reminder to anyone currently watching, means that I will not be streaming next weekend. And I got this new webcam. Hey, like, check out how clear this room is. I was honestly half expecting one of those delayed notifications about like a follow or something to just show up. But look, you can kind of slightly see the room better because I have a nicer webcam that I just got. I'm still pretty excited about it. Look at this burned human. What do you know about that? Yeah, kinda like that. The best was that, like, someone asked for proof of her death, and I was like, oh yeah, you want proof? How about this proof? And he's like, oh my god, I'm going to have you arrested. Delicious, thank you for the bits. Much appreciated. Go back to game. Alright, let's get out of here. Also, Bill is the exception to the writing being good in this game. He's dreadful. He's not a very good character at all. So where was it going next? Oh yeah, I was gonna go to his house. What do we think this symbol is? I think it's a squirrel, but it kind of looks like a poo-poo. It's not a very great pixel image. Yeah, death certificate definitely inferior to stinky charred remains for sure. Another good one is that there was like a woman who was like openly flirting with us at this bar, and I think you can actually like have an affair with her because this game is wild. But like she was like really flirting with me, and then like I came back with the remains, and she was like, "Oh my god!" And then I like tried talking to her, and she's like, "You smell of dead fish. Leave now." Oh, this game has been good. I feel like this is the kind of game you might like, but you would probably also hate Bill because he's not good. Let's go to the poo house.
Nice house. It definitely screams, eccentric person lives here. Speaking of which, that must be Mrs. Andrews over there with those rodents.
It explains the icon to some extent. Hello, Peggy.
Excuse me, Mrs. Andrews?
May I help you?
I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I was hoping you could answer a few questions.
I would love to put your husband in the doghouse.
All right, then. Don't worry, my darlings. Mommy only needs a moment to speak to the nice man, then I'll give you all the nuts you can eat.
Voice is familiar, but I cannot place it. Let's see if I've ever fumbled the bag due to reeking of burnt human smell. Well, la-dee-da, Zacula, thinking you're so much better than the rest of us. I'll agree with that, Demolition. Like, I think that the first case did have, like, some good qualities, but I think the second and third cases have been a lot more interesting, and the prologue was pretty unexciting, to be honest. Mostly because it had a lot of emphasis on, like, Bill and, like, the weird forced tragedy situation. Like, that wasn't great, but, like, even so, like, I liked the first case a good amount. I really liked the secret room puzzle was good. And then, like, these last two cases, like, I've really enjoyed them. There's been so much, like, weird stuff to do in this case. I love it.
My little
I'm glad we stuck with it.
door nuts, Mr. Fordham.
I beg your pardon, ma'am? M'lady? My little friend... My little friends just adore nuts, Mr. Fordham. Does sound familiar, which isn't surprising because I think there's like 17 people who voice act indie adventure games. True enough.
Guess that explains why squirrels are so attracted to her.
No, am I the only one who thinks it's weird that her little friends adore nuts? Whatever, that's fine. Gosh, there's a lot of hair on that woman.
Did you know Desiree Lathan?
This will get a good reaction.
Not personally. I never met her, but I knew exactly who she was.
Yeah, I definitely feel like she's probably at least in video games, if not specifically another adventure game. But like, I can't place it. It's like right there.
And who was that?
A miserable drunk, always going out and getting liquored up at her so-called socialite balls. They try to make them seem so fancy and high class, but it's really just a bunch of bitter old hags getting together to gossip about each other. With that kind of lifestyle, it was only a matter of time before it caught up with her.
Oh, someone actually read the newspaper here, huh? Doesn't ignore nuts, they're not so special. But they're her little friends. She's all about nuts, and now she's talking about socialite balls. Yeah, this woman has a certain fixation, I think. Can't quite place it, though. Just like the voice. Yeah, you seem to be aware of the death.
Do you happen to know anything about the circumstances surrounding the death of Miss
I read in the paper that she was burned to death. In her bed, wasn't it?
That's right. Do you have any idea how that may have happened?
Is it meant to be suspicious to me that she knows these details even though they were in the newspaper, just because no one else in town bothered to read the newspaper? I'm not sure.
Well, I already told you she was a drunk. Maybe she came home plastered and decided to smoke in bed. I'm rather surprised she was sleeping alone. That woman got around, if you know what I mean.
Was she also nuts about nuts?
She certainly seems to know a lot about Desiree for someone who claims to have never met her.
I'll give you that. How often has she said, well, I never? I assume she'll say it before the end of this conversation.
Do you have any hobbies or pastimes, Mrs. Andrews?
Well, of course. I do a bit of knitting and I take care of my pets.
I take it you're fond of animals?
Oh, yes. I just love animals. Most prove to be better company than people.
Is that right?
Well, consider this, Mr. Fordham. Animals can't betray you or lie.
It would be a lot easier to participate in a prisoner's dilemma with a squirrel or a cat. Probably.
Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going.
My furry little companions would never hurt me. Unlike several humans I could name.
My furry little companions would never give me up, or let me down, or turn around and desert me.
Who are these companions, exactly?
Why, my darling little kitties and squirrel friends, of course.
I like that I can ask this woman about both cats and squirrels.
Tell me about your cats.
They're the most wonderful little dears. Do you have any pets?
Okay, now all of a sudden, this feels wildly inaccurate. I feel like she would have, I feel like her whole purse is filled with daguerreotypes of all of the individual cats in her home, and if I asked her, I expect this woman to take them out and show me, photos of each of them, and tell me their names and explain their personalities, for sure.
Afraid not. My wife isn't too fond of cleaning up after animals.
Pity. Cats make wonderful pets. They're good company and are independent, unlike dogs. Edgar and Hubert are my pride and joy. I give them only the best of everything, and they in turn give me their unconditional love.
She named her cats Edgar and Hubert? And she claims to like the cats?
That's delightful.
I'm so happy for you.
I used to have a wonderful cat named Tobias, but, he had an unfortunate accident.
To shreds, you say?
That's why I never let my two angels out of the house.
I would like to know about that. That sounds suspicious.
What happened to Tobias the cat?
I'd like that he clarifies the cat, just in case you happen to end that conversation, save the game, put the game down for several months, come back and ask that as the first question.
I really rather not talk about that. It wasn't my finest hour.
So you weren't granted a +1/+1 bonus for attacking alone, and then also enabled to untap and attack for a second time in the same turn? That's Rafiq's finest hour.
Let's just say it was an honest misunderstanding which got blown way out of proportion.
Well, now I just have to know what happened. I hate it when people tease gossip and don't deliver.
I bet we can ask her husband about the cat. Squirrels?
Your squirrel friends are quite tame.
Oh, aren't they just the sweetest? And so smart, too.
And they love nuts.
When I feed them, they come up and put their little paws on my hands as though they were giving me little squirrel hugs.
I don't know why this woman married that man or why that man married this woman, but they are definitely a terrible match.
And the way they look into my eyes, I can almost hear them saying, "Thank you for the nuts."
The cutesy voice helps.
Well, at least you can be grateful that it's only my voice you hear and not some rabid squirrels.
No, the squirrel would be better. The squirrels are just like me, for real. Yeah,
Thank you for the
I hear
chat.
you.
It was very enlightening.
It was very... And then he just silently walks away.
Oh, my pleasure, Mr. Fordham. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to tending to my little darlings.
Of course. Yeah, I feel like that Tobias thing was the main takeaway from this location.
Rats with fluffy tails. How anyone can find them endearing is beyond me.
I mean, they seem a lot friendlier than the squirrels by my sister's place. Those are some healed squirrels. Let's go back to the bank. Tell me about Tobias the cat, not the person.
Mr. Andrews.
I feel like it's been done before, but for some reason, the clarification that I was asking about Tobias the cat makes me want to, like, play an investigation where, like something bad happened to both a man named Tobias and a cat named Tobias, and there'd be, like, you know, madcap shenanigans, and it'd be like, what happened to Tobias? And then they tell me something, I mean, like, no, I meant Tobias the cat!
Yes?
What's up with those squirrels? Dude, I don't know. Radiation? Like a radioactive spider bite? They're like spider squirrels? I don't know, man.
Is there anything you can tell me about your wife's old cat, Tobias?
Oh God, there's a name I was hoping never to hear again.
I love that somehow this is what our investigation has come to. But the thing I actually legitimately like about this is that it's kind of what, like, investigating is like. You have to be willing to look into everything. I really do like the way that this game, like, handles the process of investigation. Like, so many mystery games are, like, very, like, railroady. And, like, this feels so much more genuine to me.
She loved that cat. I'm sure she would have married it instead of me if she could.
Frankly, same.
Mangy little bastard was always leaving a mess and knocking things over, but he was Peggy's little angel.
Dude, sideburns are immaculate. You should have seen our rival that we, like, encountered at the start of this case. He's got some real mutton chops.
Then one day I'd had enough, so I let him outside, and...
Yes?
The stupid thing managed to get itself killed. Then things got ugly.
And somehow this was, like, worse than you writing love letters to another woman?
How so?
Peggy got a bit carried away, and, well, let's just say I never imagined a cat could earn someone a criminal record.
She killed someone?
The plot thickens. Or perhaps sickens.
Would I be able to
Thanks for
learn
your
more
time,
about
Mr.
that
Andrews.
if not from him? I could try asking her, but that seems dangerous. Where else would I be able to get that kind of information? Can I have the ghost lady channel Tobias the cat? I want that save file in case I end up doing something I regret. It's not gonna be the law firm, that's unrelated. We're in, like, Phoenix Wright territory of, like, that's the case from 5 years ago. Oh, maybe I just go to the police station and ask about a criminal record. I'm an idiot. I'm all like, yeah, I like investigating, and then I'm like, how do I learn about a criminal record?
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but...
I need some information on one Margaret Andrews. Apparently, she has a criminal record.
Margaret Andrews, eh? Give me a moment to look her up in the archives.
Look, I know that, like, this is steampunk times and not actual Victorian-era, but I have a really hard time believing it'll take you a couple of seconds to look this up.
Yes, here we are.
Are you a real policeman in this game or, like, a PI? So the way it works, Zacula, is that we were a detective, and, like, the prologue of this story has, like, a circumstance where your partner gets killed and everyone blames you for it, regardless of what you do. And, as a result, we now work as a PI, and we get our leads from this woman, who's like a clerk at the police station, something like that.
Margaret Andrews was brought in for questioning 5 years ago in connection with a fire
a
at
fire!
a theater in Worcester.
You're at a theater?
Yes. Nothing came of it, but she was briefly a suspect. Oh, there's more. She also had a prior conviction for arson.
You don't say.
And she just gives you the record. Well, like, this lady is, like, trying to help. She knows that, like, we're more competent than most of the police force, and, like, she's trying to make the town a better place, so she, like, works under the table to, like, help to give us enough information to solve the cases. And, like, gets us paid with the Good Samaritan Fund. Is it legal? Probably not. Would she get in a lot of trouble if her boss found out? Yep. They make a point of saying that.
The file says she set fire to a cab after the driver ran over her cat. She served 6 months in prison for that. This was back in 1835.
Fascinating.
Thank you for your help, Upton. This has been extremely valuable.
So, Margaret Andrews has a jealous streak and a penchant for setting things on fire. Seems a likely culprit to me.
It's possible. I wonder how much she actually cared about Lathan. What's her name? Desiree Lathan? Is that right? I should know these things. I've been continuously playing this game for like 2 hours. The law firm is such an interesting lead to me because I don't really know what I'm supposed to do about that. Oh, maybe eventually I'll get a death certificate when the coroner, like, does that thing and I can bring it to them and learn something about motive or something? I don't know. I want to go back to the bank because he's going to care less if I ask questions about her criminal past than if I go straight to her.
Nothing else to ask.
No? Okay, you don't like that? I mean... where else might I be able to use that information? He's not to do enough that I could ask the lady at the supper club. I guess I'll just ask. I mean, I made a save file.
Nothing more to ask.
Oh, that's interesting. So then what am I meant to do with that information? Is she just now in the red herring category if I have enough to accuse her? I think suspect as a category means that I can close the case by trying to pin it on the person. There's like so much information that I haven't like done anything with yet that I'm... Yeah, here we go. Return to Upton and accuse Margaret Andrews. Or have it declared spontaneous combustion. I need Dr. Edwards to like finish up his stuff. How does one get the time to pass? I don't feel like I have much in the way of like open leads right now. What do you have in terms of documentation that I could give to the lawyer? Is that something I should be doing? I'll talk to my wife.
Hello, dear.
Seeing you come home.
I somehow don't believe that you are inclined to smile at that. Nope, not gonna compliment her again. The game told me not to. Said it was a trap. Not sure if the game will let me, like, take the soporific again. Part of me wants to
But I'm
try.
glad I don't have a sense.
Who's asking you, a cop?
Time for me to get some things done.
Time for me to do my job. I don't know why I came here.
Begging your pardons.
Yes?
Let's see what happens if
Perhaps
I do.
Mr. Usher will see me when he sees this.
Oh? What's that?
A letter from Mr. Usher to his client, Desiree Lathan.
What? That's private correspondence. How did you get that?
Who's asking? Are you a cop?
It was evidence I found at a crime scene.
And how is it relevant?
The crime scene in question was Miss Lathan's own bedroom, where she was found burned to death.
That's quite a claim, Mr. Fordham. I can assure you that Mr. Usher deals primarily with facts.
I also have a document. Well, I mean, the contents of this document state that she wanted to change the beneficiary of her will, which is definitely a potential cause for motive.
Right now, the only fact this letter proves to me is that you somehow rummaged through Miss Lathan's possessions and acquired it.
He does have a point.
Right. Please, stop wasting my time then. I'm very busy.
I don't like this man. I want to bring, like, a stinky corpse.
I appreciate your time.
To bother him.
Enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Thanks, Demolition. I hope that you and everybody who is celebrating American Thanksgiving has a good holiday time. It's a great point, Zacula. Is like, I think he was connecting dots of saying that, like, we were insinuating that his boss, the lawyer, was, like, involved in the death, which, like, isn't even, like, what I would use that to try and prove, probably. But, like, we didn't actually make a claim. We're like, I have this document, and I would be interested in talking to him about it. And he's like, what? This location baffles me. I don't understand it. I just feel like I don't have anything to do right now. I mean, I can just do the adventure game thing and rub everything on everything.
Nothing,
my friend. I don't think there's anything new to check out in the crime scene. I'll save that for last, even though I don't think the game will try to punish me for doing that. I don't think there's anything else I could say to this guy, right?
We haven't got any. Nothing else.
Can I, like, steal some money?
Impressive bit of hardware. It would take a criminal mastermind to rob this bank.
I can't talk to the woman. There's not really a lot of hotspots there.
Welcome back, Mr.
I don't think there's...
Yeah, nothing new
May
here.
the spirit...
I don't think there's anything to talk to him about, unless hearing from my wife that she wanted something from this newspaper.
I don't think there's really anything else worth asking him about right now.
Guys, hearing hoofbeats and assuming zebras. True, but in fairness, listen to us walk around. We kind of sound like a zebra. I mean, even on the carpet, it's pretty loud. Good attention to detail, though. That it sounds different on the different floors. That's good work, video game. Oh yeah, a lot of the environments in this game are pretty wild.
Miss Robineau?
Oh, it's you again. Have you come to ask me more questions?
Yes.
No. Be my guest.
Thanks for your time.
Okay. Hold on. Gonna save over my old save. Actually, no, I have autosave from the map screen. I'll save that back there in case something terrible happens.
Miss Robineau? Yes.
No.
Let's flirt with her and see how bad it is. I'm told that it is often best to compliment a woman for something like her clothes that she has, like, control over, because it is more of a direct compliment to her as a person.
You've really got a great sense of fashion and style. All the other grand dames must be jealous.
Oh, you.
But it can't hurt to just say everything and see how badly this situation can go.
Can I just say you've got the most radiant smile I've ever seen?
Oh, why, that's very sweet of you, Mr. Fordham.
It's true. Not many women your age still have all their teeth intact.
I beg your pardon?
I didn't know you were such a master of the high kick, Miles. You got your foot in your mouth in record time.
I just meant... You know what? Never mind.
That's not the way in which I thought that was going to go wrong.
I must compliment you on your lovely hairstyle.
Oh, how sweet of you to say. Though it is getting a bit ragged. I'm having it done this afternoon, in fact. My girl Adelaide is a treasure.
You don't say. Well, she must be talented to improve on near perfection.
Oh, such a flattering tongue, Mr. Fordham.
Uh-oh, she's talking about my tongue.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Also, she's about to go see my wife. Gonna real quick load that autosave. Adelaide is such a great name. Big fan of that. I'm a big fan of what I would describe as uncommon names, which are quote-unquote real names that you don't hear much in, like, common parlance, as opposed to, like, uncommon names that are, like, calling your child Apple. Like, not a huge fan of that sort of thing, but, like, Adelaide is a great example of, like, That's not a name you hear every day, but, like, it's a nice name.
Pardon me, Edward.
Yes?
Have you had a chance to look at those ashes I gave you?
Yes, I have.
Good.
Unfortunately, there isn't much I can tell you.
Bad.
The victim burned to death at a very high temperature. These ashes are greasy and putrid because of liquefied fat from the body, which burned like a candle.
I mean, that had been my assumption, which is why I figured the chemical analysis wasn't going to be very helpful.
As to what caused her to burn, I cannot say without more evidence. I'm sorry, Miles.
It's quite all right, Edwards. I appreciate the information nonetheless.
Well, just so you don't go away empty-handed, have a copy of my report. Maybe it will be of some use.
Did you autograph it?
Thanks. That's all I needed to know for the moment.
Anytime, Fordham.
Can't get over that atrociously bad compliment. Like, you have such a nice smile. Normally, old ladies are missing teeth, you wretched witch. Guess it's documents. Wow, thank you so much. Desiree Lathan, age 63, died as a result of burning to death, cause of fire undetermined. What a super helpful. I guess I can give this to the lawyer is the thing, but like, wow, is that inconclusive and unhelpful. You know, I don't actually think I know the name that Elon Musk gave his kid, but I assume I hate it. I'm pretty sure that's true. Just like in a vacuum, I think. That coroner sucks. I mean, he sure didn't determine anything, but it is like a suspicious crime scene to begin with. I bet if Pewter would hear, he would know. He would know what to do.
Begging your pardon, sir.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
Enjoy
No, I misclicked.
Begging your pardon.
Hello, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Perhaps, Mr.
No.
The coroner's report.
A report from Dr. Malcolm Edwards, the city coroner, confirming Miss Lathan's untimely demise.
Let me see that. Oh my. Wait one moment, would you?
That was fun. It sounded almost like a prison book from Myst. Uh-oh, Zacula's excited to tell me the name of Elon Musk's child. It really can't be good.
What is the meaning of this?
The gentleman who brought that is a private investigator. He's waiting outside to see you.
That I want to say that you mistyped that, Zacula, but I don't know how you would accidentally type the... What even is the name of that character that is like an A and an E that is usually only on like magic cards and like old British documents? That's so... I really hate that. That's worse than I thought that could be. That's extremely bad. X... Like, Zaya 12? Like, how do you even pronounce that? That's like nothing. Yeah, I don't like that. To answer your question, nah.
Send him in then.
You heard him, Mr. Fordham. You may go inside and see Mr. Usher.
Thank you kindly.
But can I have one of the Rice Krispie treats that you can't see because I'm covering it with my face?
So, a private investigator, are you?
Why does he have, like, a portrait of, like, a dark elf on his wall? What's that about?
That's right. Miles Fordham is my name.
Jonas Usher, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Pleasure's all mine.
So, it would seem that Miss Lathan has shuffled off the mortal coil, as it were.
I'm also certain I've heard this guy's voice in something.
I'm sorry to say that is indeed the case.
Please, come in, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear that my client is dead. Why don't you have a beverage? The AE letter is called, diphthong? Okay.
I only ask that you kindly wash your hands in the basin first, and limit what you touch in here.
Yeah, I mean, we've all made some sacrifices since 2020. That seems like a reasonable accommodation. Oh, that's... Hey, take it from me, who is actually named Kyle. That's not pronounced Kyle. That's wrong. Incorrect. Not true.
This one seems a bit on edge, doesn't he?
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. I appreciate your cooperation.
I bet you could just bust in this place and, like, touch his face and get $5. Diphthong. Originally, a ligature representing the Latin diphthong has been promoted to the status of letter in some languages, including Danish, Norwegian, Icelandic, and Faroese? Not familiar with that. Also used in Old Swedish before being changed to a with an accent on it that I also don't know the name for. I love streaming because sometimes chat just, like, tells you fun facts. Like, that's fun.
Judging by how full these bottles are, Usher doesn't indulge much. What a waste. Stern-looking lady. Usher seems to like keeping his guests at a distance.
Like, I guess this is supposed to be light from the lamp, but it looks weird.
Mr. Usher, I have some questions for you.
And hopefully I have your answers.
Look at this guy.
What can you tell me about Desiree Lathan?
She was a lovely woman.
How long had you been her attorney?
She retained me some 10 years ago, I believe.
That's quite a long time.
Yes, I remember I had just gotten over a bout of melancholia and been able to work in nearly a month. I didn't think I'd make it out of that, but luckily things took a turn for the better. Miss Lathan came to see me, and I've served as her attorney ever since.
Would you say Miss Lathan is a wealthy woman?
Indeed I would. Her estate is worth a significant sum. Of course, you understand that this is confidential information, so I cannot tell you the exact amount.
Is it between ouch and boing?
Yes, of course.
Is that Lemmy from Motorhead? I don't know. Because I don't actually know what Lemmy from Motorhead looks like. Oh dear, I have a bout of melancholy. I must take some time off. Yeah, it'd be nice to get away with that in the old 21st century, huh?
Can you think of anyone who may have wanted to harm Miss Lathan?
No, I can't. What makes you think that someone actually killed her?
It seems the most plausible explanation.
Miss Lathan was getting on in years. It's likely she may have developed a case of pneumonia.
Would we say it's likely that she developed a case of pneumonia? Listen, I've never personally had pneumonia, but I don't think that's what happens. Pretty sure no. Pretty sure that's not what happened, my guy. Like, literally, didn't we send him the coroner's report that said she burned to death? This guy's like a lawyer, right? He should be better at reading documents.
That's the most common killer of the elderly, you know. I had it when I was younger. Most unpleasant. Constant coughing, spitting up phlegm, rattling in the lungs.
You know, I kind of thought that the, like, most common killer of the elderly was, like, not having teeth, you old witch.
Thankfully, I made a full recovery.
Can't prove that she didn't develop a case of pneumonia before burning to death. It's true, since the coroner wasn't extremely helpful in figuring out the cause of death, it's possible that it was, like, spontaneous combustion caused by pneumonia. I have to say, there's something that really tickles me about the fact that, like, this game will literally let you, like, not extremely far into the investigation, just, like, go up to the lady who, like, told you to investigate this and be like, she magically burned to death. That's it. That's the whole case. It was spontaneous combustion. There was nothing more to it. Paycheck, please. Please.
But supposing that was the cause of death, how would it explain the fact that her body was completely burned?
She was a smoker. Perhaps she was having a cigarette when she died and dropped it on the bed, causing it to catch fire.
But the bed didn't really catch fire.
I found no cigarette butts at the crime scene.
I'm merely offering my opinion, Mr. Fordham. You can take it or leave it.
I think we should leave it.
How about that will?
I found this letter in Miss Lathan's bedroom, which mentions that she recently changed her will. Could you tell me a bit more about the circumstances surrounding this change?
That's not an uncommon occurrence. People change their wills all the time. Relatives and friends fall in and out of favor constantly.
It seems like a really natural thing that, like, if you have, like, a bunch of money and you would just, like, yeah, like, this person's really kind to me, I want to make sure they're included. But, like, there's something that seems so, like, weirdly callous about that. Of, like, you know what? I haven't heard from Jenny in 6 months. She's getting nothing from me.
Had Miss Lathan made changes to her will previously?
No, this was the first time.
What change did she make exactly?
Just a change to her beneficiary. Nothing out of the ordinary.
And when did this change occur?
About 4 months ago, if I recall correctly. Yes, it was definitely in June, because I'd been in bed with a nasty stomach flu at the end of May.
You know, I was gonna comment on the fact that he gauges his whole life by, like, when he's ill, but, like, that's actually established. Like, that's not even, like, a thing.
That was no fun, let me tell you. I think I lost nearly 6 pounds from the constant trips to the WC.
Cool.
Couldn't keep a thing down, and
hey, my guy, I didn't ask.
Came out the other end, if you get my meaning.
Liquid from the neck down, if you catch my drift.
I'd say his meaning is regrettably impossible to avoid.
Who did Miss Lathan name as her new beneficiary?
Mr. Fordham, please. You know I couldn't possibly tell you that. There is such a thing as attorney-client privilege.
Is the notion that I'm meant to make this man sick?
What the fuck?
Am I supposed to, like, do something to make this guy sick so that he'll leave and I can rummage through his records or something? Tell me or I'll sneeze on you! Oh my god. Oh, jeez. Okay. I honestly don't know. Go get the ashes. Please tell me this is the old X-Lack and the coffee trick. No, I don't think that's what we're going for here. I think we're just, I mean, I honestly don't know. Usually I feel like I can reason through these. I've had pretty good success doing that. I mean, threatening to sneeze on him is like, it could work. It's bad. You get the bits put in the swear jar. Yeah, that's like the whole point of how that works. Even the website for it, I'm blanking on it. The sound alerts even keeps like a record of it. Doesn't update in real time. I'd have to refresh the page, which I'm not gonna bother doing. But like, yeah, that does that. Gosh, I don't think I know enough about how attorney-client privilege works to, like, do this, to, like, know what the right answer is. I don't think it's as simple as the fact that she's deceased. I think reasonable suspicion might be a cause to do that. If I threaten to sneeze on him, there's, like, no coming back from that. And I feel like the way that this case is played out so far, I, like, really need this guy's cooperation if I actually want to get to the bottom of it. If I want to, like, actually solve it and not just, like, blame it on the cat lady or something. Yeah, I feel like it applies after death. Like, I'm not 100% on that, but, like, I feel like that's true enough that there has to be some other cause. So, like, I'm inclined to ask about the suspicious nature of the death. But the thing is, like, 4 months later, I don't know that, like, everyone would necessarily agree that that's suspicious. If it was, like, the next day, like, that would obviously be pretty suspicious. But I think it's just too risky to threaten to sneeze on him, because, like, he'll just, like, immediately go crazy and, like, kill me with his bare hands. No, that's a lie. He'll put on gloves. He doesn't want to touch me.
Do you not find it suspicious, Mr. Usher, that Miss Lathan died under such mysterious circumstances only 4 months after naming a new beneficiary? You said yourself she was wealthy. Does it not make sense that someone might have wanted her inheritance?
I suppose it's not entirely out of the question.
Okay.
Right. So tell me the name of Miss Lathan's beneficiary so I can determine if this was, in fact, a murder.
Very well. It was a man named Roger DeVay.
Man, I get such a feeling of accomplishment from this game. I really do. Like, rarely do I play a video game and, like, feel like, yeah, I did it! The way that this game makes me feel.
Do you have any information on where I can find him?
Only his address. It's 775 Pumblechook Place in Chumley.
It's not called Pumblechook Place. That's a fictional name. I know that this game is fiction, but there's no way a place is called Pumblechook Place. That's ridiculous. That's a stupid name for anything. And I'm saying that having played many hours of a game where this is pronounced Chumley.
That'll do nicely. Thank you, Mr. Usher.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I like that too. Only his address. And this photo of him and his social security number, but that's all I have.
How long have you been practicing law, Mr. Usher?
Usher and Price has been operating since 1805. I took over from my father 15 years ago. The stress hasn't helped my heartburn, I can tell you that.
This guy.
Why, just last night I was tossing and turning because I couldn't stand the burning in my throat.
Burning, you say?
That's why I've got these bags under my eyes, you know.
Likely story.
Ah, yes. And Mr. Price?
He's still here, although I think he'll probably be retiring soon as well. But the law firm has done well over the years, and I have a feeling it'll do even better in the years to come.
So are you suggesting that your legal services will soon become priceless? This man does love telling people about his bodily functions. He has no chill whatsoever.
We're currently beginning a group litigation against Royal Maverick for the Lygia disaster.
That's interesting.
I'm confident that we'll recover quite a significant sum for the families of those killed. You weren't by chance affected by the disaster, were you?
I guess TV commercials don't exist for daytime TV for him to have reached us.
Thankfully, I wasn't, no.
Shame. You could have joined the class action and done quite well when we win.
You know, I always thought we detectives made our living off human tragedy.
I'm gonna ask him.
Mr. Usher, I've noticed from your rules and habits that you seem to have a particular aversion to germs. Why is that, if I may ask?
I've been ill most of my life, Mr. Fordham. I was a sickly child, and unfortunately my condition hasn't improved with age. It's a miracle I'm still alive. That's why I'm so careful about exposing myself to germs.
I see.
How's my color? Do I look pale to you?
Not particularly.
I saw myself in the mirror this morning and thought I looked a bit peaked. Also, my leg has been hurting more than usual, which has been cause for concern.
Oh boy, this guy. He's a lot of fun at parties.
You've really done it, Miles.
Sago says, do you or a loved one suffer from mesothelioma? Yeah, that's, you will, the only reason I even know that word at all is because of the absolute shocking abundance of daytime TV commercials.
Yes, well, moving on. Thank you for your help, Mr. Usher.
The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Fordham.
Moving on from this place, I would like to leave here, so I'll be moving onward, away, outward.
Stern-looking. Is there anything more boring than books on law? Just reading the titles is making me drowsy.
I think we could just go. Curious if there was anything worth noting around here. Alright, should have a new location. He is a painter, I guess.
Did Usher give us the wrong address? This should be 775, but there's no building here.
Well, that is a surprise.
These aren't in such bad shape, really. As far as the chum goes, this is one of the nicer areas.
There's like a chalk drawing of Professor Layton up here.
I used to draw funny pictures of rich people on walls too when I was a kid. Never did a lick of good, but it would always make me feel better. Hey, that's just like the one we had when I was a boy. Good old Rusty. He served us well. Yeah, those aren't half bad. Too bad they aren't finished. I wonder if they're going to be used to keep the fire going.
Hello, sir.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
Okay.
Is this 775 Pumblechook Place?
I told you it wasn't a real place.
Yeah, it would be if the building were still here.
Oh, I see. Might I ask you a few questions?
If the building were still here. Is it possible that it burned down and that the cat lady was responsible?
You can ask.
Do you know Roger DeVay?
Know him? Of course I know him. He lives here with me.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going for the, of course I know him, he's me.
He does?
Well, whenever he decides to come home, anyway.
He's not a cat, is he?
The rest of the time, I suspect he finds a way to sleep at his job.
So that's a no, right?
Me, I'd do the same. Except I can't stand the smell of the horses.
If only it was possible to reach this point of the game while still having the gross ashes in my pocket.
Do you know where Mr. DeVay works?
Nah, he never told me.
And how do you know what he does at his job? Nader Zagula, thanks for dropping by. Glad you're doing well.
Do you know a woman named Desiree Lathan?
Nah, I don't know many women. They're not too fond of my company.
This must be how I come across to women. It would explain a lot.
Well, I don't understand why. I always try to be a perfect gentleman. Guess it just don't got the charm.
No longer like this game. I'm pictured and I don't like it.
I've asked Roger to give me a few pointers. He's a big hit with ladies, you know.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. He no sooner looks at them than they're falling at his feet. Real natural, that one. Never brings back here, though. Always winds up staying with him, getting a free meal and a soft bed out of it. Ah, well, the bohemian lifestyle ain't for everyone. Maybe someday my luck will change.
Just keep wishing on those stars.
I'm sure it will change the day he decides to take a bath.
Tell me about yourself, friend.
What's your name, sir?
Me? I'm Herman. Herman Shaw.
How long have you been living here?
Oh, I've been here for ages. Since before the building got condemned and was torn down. They pretty much forced us out, you see, but a couple of us came back and set up here. Seemed like a good idea. I had nowhere else to go. That's not so bad, except for when it rains. And I guess we'll have to bundle up a bit more when it gets cold. But other than that, it's like the place was still standing.
There's some of that classic chum ingenuity. Or maybe it's just delusion.
What happened to this place? Why was it condemned?
The building was old, in a pretty sad state, so the inspectors came by and said it was unfit for living.
You just got bored and did that, huh?
There was a whole lot of us here. Most were able to pick up and go, but a few of us stayed.
Why don't you go to a workhouse?
You wouldn't be asking if you'd ever been inside one. It's wall-to-wall people, children crying, sick folk coughing all over you.
Weird direction for this investigation to have taken.
There's plenty of that out here, too.
Well, sure, but out here, there's freedom. Nobody telling you what to do except the odd copper. Not even many of them in this neighborhood. Besides, this is my home. Just because it's missing a few walls don't mean I ought to abandon it.
You look somewhat familiar. Didn't I see you protesting outside the Harris construction yard?
Yeah, I was there. What of it?
Were you affected by the Ligeia disaster?
Well, nobody I know was killed, if that's what you mean.
So, why were you protesting the construction of the Lenore?
That Devons fella promised he'd buy us a meal if we stood in the crowd.
Interesting.
And for a free meal, I'd do just about anything.
I thank you for your time.
Maybe give us a shilling or two for the trouble?
I'll consider it.
Hey. By chum standards, that's practically a four-poster.
Man, that background cough noise is upsetting. What am I supposed to get from this? Have a new location somehow? I guess I can try asking at the police station or something.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
Nope, that's not it. Doesn't seem like there's a city hall or library of records or something that I could do. So, what possible means would I have of finding this guy? I guess I could go back. No, I can't go to the lawyer. The lawyer location is completely gone. That's weird. I didn't even notice that. Well then I can't ask him about that address. I mean, if he was looking to chat someone up, the only person I know who fits that description is this lady, but I don't think that's the answer.
Miss Robin?
Oh, it's you.
Yes.
No, no.
No.
Thanks for your...
I want to be able to, like, piece this together, but I think maybe I'm just going to have to, like, do the adventure game thing. Is there some weird chance my wife knows about this? She sometimes just has random insights to things.
It's always nice.
Clomp, 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 clomp.
What is it?
I'll let you...
No, nothing new here.
Time for me to get...
We haven't got anything. Nothing else.
I feel like there has, like... I just, like, didn't get anything from here. There must be something I can
Doesn't
get
look
here.
like much, but I bet it keeps the rain off. Assuming there's no wind. Hey. Best not to bother him any further. Yeah, those aren't... I wonder if they're...
All he mentioned was, like, falling asleep at work. And I don't think he described a place I've already been as the guy's place of work. He said, like, would smell of horses. Alright, let's just randomly talk to everyone.
Welcome back.
What a ridiculous...
Can I, like, perform a seance?
I think I've seen one of these before.
It's a spirit board. We use it.
Well, I've got a message from Miss...
I'll be going now.
May this...
I had access to that in the last case. I don't know why that gets, like, a special dialogue, since that wasn't relevant in that case or this case.
I don't think there's real...
I don't think I've missed some opportunity to pick up something that I could, like, test, have I? It's like I still haven't finished that experiment to figure out what the source of the oil on the cloth under her bed was. I don't think I have any theories about that either at the moment. What am I missing?
Nothing more to ask her.
I don't think any of these places is gonna give me anything.
Nothing new to ask?
I really don't understand why there's like a lead that takes you to the supper club. It's only direct purpose so far, I think. I mean, I guess you learned from her that Desiree was like an alcoholic, and then you get the cup to carry around the ashes in. That seems to be it. Haven't I been everywhere?
I don't think... I wonder if Edward's ever got... Looks like a...
Goofy cartoon sound effects will cheer me up, as I have no idea what I'm doing.
We already confirmed this isn't the right substance, Miles. You're just wasting time now.
I am just wasting time. This would be a good use of Bill. It would be a use of Bill. I mean, in fairness to this game, it's very much structured in a way that, like, you don't necessarily need a character to do, like, reminders or whatever, but, like, it is nice in games like this. Like, Sam and Max does this, where you can, like, even though Sam and Max are a team, like, you can talk to Max. You're usually playing as Sam. And, like, he'll just sort of talk about what's going on. Thanks, Angel. Thank you for the gift sub before. Glad you stopped by, and hope you have a nice Thanksgiving. Click on yourself, and he gives a hint. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst. The game's also been, like, really good so far about having, like, good cause and effect. Like, I honestly feel like I must be missing something. Like, feel free to call me on it, but, like, I'm just... Normally there's, like, a lead, and maybe I don't know how to apply it right away, but, like, I think the last lead I had, like, took me to this place, and then I learned nothing, and I'm really confused about that. Because that's, like, not how this game has worked so far. Normally, if you have nothing but a new location, that new location will, like, sort of tell you where to go. Some, like, weird pixel hunt thing somewhere? Doesn't seem like it.
Best not to bother him any further. Hey, that's just...
I'm afraid I need...
All right.
I don't think there's anything else to be gained from here, but, like, I just don't know what to do, so I'm gonna do one last pass over everything, and then if I got no ideas, I'll probably have to call
Just a pile
stream.
of ashes. They can't tell us much more than we already know. Nothing else of interest in there. I don't think Desiree will be able to...
Bill?
What? This one's clean. This one's... There's a tattoo on her... There's a tattoo on her ankle. It says, "Dancing Through Life."
Relevant, or is that just the plot point that they were able to identify her despite her body being extremely destroyed?
Alas, poor Desiree, a woman of infinite riches. Come to think of it, that question might be worth answering. I don't think there's much else we can learn just by looking at these ashes, Mine.
I do love that the coroner's, like, revelation was like, yeah, it was a fire.
That's a nice portrait of Miss Lathan. Too bad it was damaged by the fire. The area where the artist's signature should be has been singed and is unreadable.
But the date is still legible. It's from this year.
The signature is singed off this painting, which could be some attempt for an artist who maybe was responsible for the portrait to cover up his connection to this woman that he killed in order to get her money. Which could be either Robert or his companion. But I can't really do anything unless I can, like, track him down, it seems like. But I don't have any leads, so how do I do that?
As much as I like this... Nothing else of interest. Miss Lathan's half-written article about igniting the fires within. Pity we'll never be able to know how it ends. Nothing else of interest. Doesn't look as though this fireplace has been used in a long... Definitely too young to be...
There's a signature on this one? I doubt it. Or rather, there is, but it's probably not relevant. Still, I'd like to be
You
able
have
to
to
check
hand
it.
it to her, Miss.
I already checked all the
An
stuff. I
invitation
just
to the
don't...
Gascon Grand Dame's ball. It seems it was held 2 nights ago at the Gascon Supper Club.
It's so weird that the law office disappeared.
That painting depicts a hand dropping a bunch. The bridge to Lyon overlooking the House of Parliament. I suppose that seeing that helps the patrons of this club put on airs.
Sorry for being quiet. I just I completely am at a loss, so I'm kind of just trying to like scour every environment for some detail I've
These
missed.
are all high-end foo-foo liqueurs and cordials. You couldn't pay me to drink that rubbish.
But I feel like I've been following everything going along, and yet I just like have nothing to go on right now. So this is from Upton. This told us the scene of the crime so we could go to the house where we found her burned body and all the clues. One of those clues is like record of her changing her will, even though it was apparently like 4 months ago, which feels very likely to be motive. We got letters from Andrew something or something Andrew. Peter. So Peter Andrews. His wife sounds a little unstable when it comes to the safety of her animals, but she doesn't actually seem to care so much about her husband, so I'm not convinced that she used her powers of arson to take out her rival, who he was writing romantic letters to. There's your half-written article, which, like, isn't really much of a lead. It, like, took us to the magazine, and we talked to that guy, and did we really learn anything of consequence there? I think he directed us to go to the Spirit Club, and, like, there you get the lead where you can, like, rule it a spontaneous combustion. That may be all that's for, but that feels weird. There's the coroner's report we got from bringing Stinky Ashes to the coroner, and basically all he says is that she burned to death. We used that to get into the lawyer's place, and the lawyer gave us the lead to go talk to, Roger DeVay? It just seems like I must be missing something, and I have no idea what it is. I should mention that Desiree Lathan changed her will to name Roger DeVay as her beneficiary. What do I do with it? What do I do? What do I do? Just gonna keep trying to go through everything. Really didn't get much of a lead from a few of these places. It's a little surprising that we can still go to all of them. Also kind of weird that this guy will let us just like walk into and out of his office
I don't think there's
repeatedly.
really anything else worth asking him about right now. I can only begin to imagine how many lurid and empty. For the publisher of a sensationalist rag, Brentwell is awfully...
What I need is like... I just need to find where Roger would be. But he's like... presumed at work, and he doesn't work at any of the places I can go to, right?
Welcome back, Mr.
He's not in the Spirit
quite a
Club
few
book, huh?
I don't think there's anything she can help with. I never much cared for.
She can't tell my fortune, and by extension, tell me what I'm missing and where to go.
We haven't got anything else. Nothing else to ask.
I mean, like, look at the paintings anymore.
What an absurd Nothing more to ask her about right now. Rats with fluff.
There's not much to find on this screen. Did I miss something here? This just feels odd because I don't get the impression that this is like the type of game where like it's trying to like punish you. Like it feels like there's these other branches that are supposed to be, you know, maybe if you're not as observant or whatever, but like it just feels so weird how quickly this lead dead ends, and it doesn't feel like that's necessarily intentional. Like part of me almost legitimately thinks that like a glitch happened and that like I should have like some other thing I can do there.
Prime Minister Atwood? Pretty sure that connects Upton to everyone on the police network, including Giles at the jail. Lucky her.
Got a moment up?
Yes, but...
No way I can wrap the case up.
That's it.
Better get...
with the actual cover, because like I don't even really totally understand it yet.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone reading those books. The old Jack and Stars. Sure was nice when that sign didn't apply to us. Seems to be empty for now. I feel...
It's pretty thorough checking
Edwards
this place
must
out
have some
before.
very good friends in the department to have gotten this custom-made table. It does suit the room, though. Nice pair of legs. I'd say being hooked up to that machine was the worst experience of my life, except I was already dead at the time. Imagine a giant mosquito sucking out all your blood and then replacing it with formaldehyde. Not very pleasant. Edwards keeps assorted bottles. This provides the room. It sure is a lot of... You've seen one dissected torso? The brain is truly a fascinating organ. If only more people used it.
Says Bill.
A fine example of well-developed deltoids, latissimus dorsi, and gluteus maximi.
That's all the workbench interaction.
Well, at least he died.
Can't ask the skeleton any questions. I'm so confused. And it's not like I'm not following the case or I don't understand what's going on. I just like there should be and like oh what?
That collection of stains, fluids, and other repugnant materials almost makes me homesick for the chum.
Can I test it on the workbench?
That collection of
No? Okay. And I realize like in real life you don't always have a lead and sometimes the case goes cold or whatever, but like it just doesn't seem like that's what the game is doing. It's just like whatever it is, it has to be here, right? Like it has to be here. Can't not be here.
By chum standards, that... By chum standard? Yeah, those aren't half bad. I wonder if they're gonna...
There's no, like, signature on them? I mean, I guess it wouldn't help because they don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah, those aren't... I wonder if they're gonna be used to keep... I used to draw funny pics. Never did a lick of...
There has to be something. Has to be.
Hey, that's just like the one we had. Doesn't look like much.
I mean, if you want, you can look up a guide demolition. I mostly just want to know if I missed something that I should know. It just seems so weird that there's like no lead that comes from this. I mean, part of that is like, why is there not a question where I can just like ask this guy where to find Roger? I mean, I know he said he's probably at work, and we're like, do you know where he works? And he's like, no, which is like super cool and helpful. If, like, I...
Doesn't look like much.
They're just like, there should be something here, or like some other open lead, and I just don't feel like that's true. Investigate the Gascon Supper Club. That's still on the to-do list? The only other things on the to-do list are like really open-ended things. So, what's this place called? That location is DeVay's residence in Chumley. Let me try something. Go ahead and try something. Try a classic something. I think we're doing pretty well. I'll save over the old one.
Miss Robino?
Oh, it's...
Yes.
No.
It's this Fordham's place. Let me try something. I like undid the complimenting her. Let's compliment her hair and see if we can get her to like go talk to our wife and tell me clues.
I must compliment you on your lovely hairstyle.
Oh, how sweet of you to say. Though it is getting a bit ragged. I'm having it done this afternoon, in fact. My girl Adelaide is a treasure.
You don't say. Well, she must be talented to improve on near perfection.
Oh, such a flattering tongue, Mr. Fordham.
Thanks for your
Thanks.
Now let's go talk to our wife and see if that did what I suspect it might have did. It probably didn't, but it might have.
It's good.
Addie?
What is it, Miles?
I did do something.
You've got an appointment with Charlotte Robineau later today, don't you?
Are you using your detecting skills on me now?
I spoke with her at the Gascon Supper Club, and she mentioned you.
Makes sense. That social circle is tiny.
She wasn't very forthcoming, though. Do you think you might try and persuade her to talk?
I feel pretty accomplished about the fact that I figured that out solely by the fact that the game considered it an open lead.
Persuasion shouldn't be necessary. She usually just sits in the chair and starts gossiping up a storm. I think I know more about all the Gascon Grand Dames than anyone should.
If that's true, could you just have told me what I need to know from the beginning of the case?
That's good. That's very good.
Here's what I want to know, question mark.
Right. These are the things I want you to ask her about.
So you want me to take off about an inch, but keep enough for your curls?
I like the portrait she has.
Yes, that's right. You know how I like it, Adelaide.
Let's ask her how the ball was first. I don't know if she'll be upset if I ask in the wrong order, but like that seems like a reasonable place to start.
How was the Grand Dame's ball? Was your hairdo a hit?
Oh, it was. All those other old biddies were practically fainting with jealousy.
Music is fun.
Truth be told, though, the evening was rather dull. Just the regular crowd of wags and gossips. You know, sometimes I envy people like you, Adelaide.
People like me?
Yes, you know, ordinary people.
Thank you so much.
Being a member of high society can be so draining. One quite lacks a sense of purpose, of ordinary, honest usefulness that comes from a good day's labor.
Have you done much of that sort of labor yourself, madam?
Little pointed.
What? No, of course not. But I imagine it must be quite good for the soul, quite grounding. Just being what you are. No airs or pretense. Oh, you've missed a bit there on the left ear. Do be sure it comes out even.
We're such good friends.
Certainly, madam.
Ask about Desiree.
I was reading in the paper this morning about what happened with Desiree Lathan. Did you hear about that?
Oh, such a tragedy. poor Desi. We hadn't talked in a long time, but how terrible to think of her dying in such a horrible way.
My condolences.
Thank you, dear.
Alright, now... guess we could have her ask about this. I do feel like what we really want to know is if any suitors caught her eye, but it felt weird to just dive into that. But like I said, she was the only person who sort of fit the description of, like, what Roger would be targeting. Such a roundabout way to get there.
Did you and Desiree used to be friends?
Oh, we were like sisters at one point.
What happened?
What else? A man got involved.
You were both after the same man?
No, quite the contrary. We both enjoyed being unattached and had vowed to keep it that way. The Spinster Sisters, we used to call ourselves.
That's kind of fun.
But I fell for a man a few years ago. We got married, and Desiree stopped speaking to me.
That's a shame.
Yes, especially considering the marriage only lasted a few brief months. I lost both my husband and my best friend.
That's so crazy suspicious.
I'm sure there's a lesson to be learned in that.
Oh, sure, we could ask about the port, but let's try and ask them in a conversational seeming order.
Has anyone special caught your eye recently?
Ha! No, I think I'm getting too old for most of the young pups I see around these days. Besides, marriage has proved to be more trouble than it's worth. I'm finished with that whole game.
Very interesting.
Although there was one fellow who came into the supper club today. Pity he was only interested in asking questions.
Please don't say more. I wonder if you compliment her more than is necessary to trigger this if it does something bad.
Oh?
Yes, the dark brooding type. Sleepless nights etched all over his face.
All over his face.
Still handsome, though. I invited him to join me for a drink, but he refused. Said his wife wouldn't appreciate it.
Sounds like a real gentleman.
And I have no use for gentlemen, my dear girl. I like a man who
feeling.
knows how to have fun.
Probably for the best he didn't join you for that drink then.
Tell me about the painting that is also suspicious.
I heard someone mention that Desiree had her portrait painted recently.
Yes, I heard that too. I think it was Caroline who told me. Yes, that was it, Caroline. She was looking for a portrait artist and told me Desiree had found one. Roger DeVay, I think she said his name was.
Right.
Roger DeVay? Sounds mysterious. Who is he?
Well, I don't know about mysterious. He's just an artist. Not a very good one either, from what I hear.
He didn't do a good job on the portrait?
Oh, no, he did fine.
You've seen
I just
it?
meant he hasn't really taken off. His paintings aren't worth very much, you see. But Desiree took a liking to him very quickly. Even went as far as giving him an extra key to her apartment.
Oh.
If there was anything more going on between them, I couldn't say. But she could have done a lot better, if you ask me.
That sure sounds like means to me.
I mean, he's barely even an artist now. I heard he took a teaching position at the university. Now, who would want their likeness immortalized by a lecturer?
I see. Well, I hope he makes it in the world someday.
Miracles may happen.
I like that she updated our casebook. This music is nice.
I have to say, your musical selection for today is lovely.
It's nice to know someone like you can appreciate some of the finer points of culture. In case you were wondering, the piece is the Fourth Symphony by a composer named Theophilus von Wagner.
Yes, it's refreshing to hear the Fourth Symphony for a change. Most people know von Wagner for his Fifth Symphony or his Lute Concerto in D minor.
Someone had a lot of fun with this.
Oh, you know von Wagner?
If Mr. Generic Name were here, he would understand the humor of this.
Although I admit he isn't one of my favorite Baroque composers, I can appreciate what he brought to the movement. I'm more in favor of Scaravaldi. His development of the Concerto Grosso makes for a much richer musical tapestry. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Oh, well, perhaps so.
Do you have any favorites among Scaravaldi's works?
The one you said?
His first symphony is quite riveting.
Do you mean his concerto for mandolin? He didn't have a first symphony as such.
Well, yes. That's what I meant.
You're just kind of being rude, hair lady.
As much as I enjoy chatting, perhaps you should concentrate on what you're doing, dear.
There's an achievement for that. Yeah, let's talk about the weather.
Quite chilly out today, isn't it?
Yes. A good day for spending indoors.
Probably means we'll be getting an earlier winter.
It's a good thing I bought a new set of coats then.
Okay, I'm done now.
Good. I think that's all finished.
Thank you, Adelaide. It was a pleasure, as always.
Likewise, Miss Robinow. I'll see you next week. And she didn't tip very well either.
Well, you did sort of, you kind of earned that, unfortunately. It's a little weird, though, that she would see her next week after, like, giving her, an inch trim. Is she growing, like, an inch of hair a week? That seems wild.
I'm sorry, dear. She sounds positively dreadful.
No more than the other Gascon Grand Dames. I just hope you managed to get something useful from that.
I did!
I shouldn't be gone too long.
Goodbye, dear.
Love you too.
The university? Oh, right, we've been to the university before. I don't know how many save files I can have in this game. Hello, it's me, Big Vasco. It's getting on the late side, and also, most people seem to have gone off to bed. It has been kind of a weird weekend, and also, we have a holiday coming up, at least here in the United States. So let me go ahead and... I just want to make sure it has the save, yeah? Okay. And I named it the thing that'll let me know where to go next time. Hey, Haggis, I'm glad you're still hanging in here. How you doing? How you liking this game? Quit to desktop. Stop making noises. Yeah, I mean, I'm liking this game a lot. That one bit's a little tricky there because it feels like you shouldn't compliment the drunk woman who's hitting on you, and that like there will be consequences for your wife who knows her. But like in hindsight of understanding what the game is looking for, I get how I maybe read too much into that. But even so, like, oftentimes when I'm playing an adventure game and something like that comes up, I get, like, frustrated by, like, the gap in logic. But I honestly, like, come away from that feeling like, yeah, you know what? Like, I feel like that's at least some amount my fault. I really have been liking this game a lot. I don't know that there's like a ton left in this case, but I feel like there's probably more than I want to play through tonight. I feel like there's like maybe an hour. Because like normally you have to get like a couple things together before the game considers someone a suspect. And then when you find like the ultimate suspect, usually there's like some additional thing that you can investigate for like a quote unquote like perfect ending. So I feel like we may have that ahead of us. Of course, I say usually we've had like 2 proper cases and it's kind of worked that way both times. So it could be different this time. I don't know. I will say it does feel odd that you don't get more of a lead from his comrade who shares the same address with him. It just feels super weird that you go there and it's just weird and they're like, yeah, okay, I guess he flirts with ladies and so like you should talk to a lady who flirts with guys. And then that's like not even quite the connection they have, but it works out. We know where to go now, to the university. And we'll check that out, not next week, because that is the weekend following Thanksgiving, and I'll be spending that time with family. But 2 weeks from now, we'll return, and we'll be playing this on Saturday, and the Friday of that same weekend, I think the plan is to pick back up with Murder by Numbers. We've completed 3 of 4 cases or 3 of 5 cases. I don't quite remember. We did. I think we've done 3. Maybe we've only done. Maybe we've done 2 of 4. We did the initial investigation at the TV station, and then there was an award show, and that's the last one we did. think. Was there another case? We'll deal with that problem in the future. We've made some progress in that game, and we will try to make more. And of course, we'll try to remember what some of the character voices sounded like, because that game also doesn't have voice acting, unlike Lamplight City, which I've been pretty happy with that element among other elements that are successful in this game. So looking forward to playing both of those. Hope I see you for that in a couple of weeks. Before we go, for those of you still here, I have hidden a Squirtle somewhere on the couch behind me. You can see a Squirtle like this guy up here, and you can probably see him a little better in HD. That's not the Squirtle you're looking for, because it's not a secret. See if you can figure out where I've hidden a Squirtle. Find Sleepy Jolteon. A good guess. I haven't had the big Eevees on the couch as much lately. Ugh. I'm also feeling pretty sleepy, so we're gonna have to wrap up pretty soon. Couple good guesses. I think that's probably all we're gonna get. Unless Castleard comes in with a sneaky one at the end. Thanks for everyone watching. I don't know if anyone's already tuned out since I started the intro, because I know not everyone's on the lookout for the secret Squirtle, but I don't understand why that is, because if you can find a Squirtle that is hidden, it's an omen of good luck in the week to come. You won yesterday. Yeah, but you could have like a super lucky week. Like, your Thanksgiving turkey could have a winning lottery ticket in it. That's so much luck. Anyway, let's go take a look and see if we can find that Squirtle. Standing, my nemesis. I just got in with the first guess. Take a look behind. Look at this sleepy boy. I haven't seen Sleepy Jolteon in a while. And it's very big. Look, big Vasco for scale. It's a big sleepy boy. Hiding back there, behind Jolteon and underneath our red Power Ranger. There's a smarter way to do this. Probably. It was extremely difficult for myself. Congratulations to me. He was propped up by a pair of Pokeballs. I don't know if you all have seen the news about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but there are some wild bugs in that game. Doesn't quite seem finished. But also, look, it's Tiny Lorenzo. He's extremely good. I love him very much with his little mitten hands and his cuteness. So cute. And the other guess was behind our good buddy, the Concerned Loaf. Look at his little dangle feet. Oh, do you see something down there? What's that? Everything fell down, and that's just the way the stream ends. Have a look at that. There by our Concerned Loaf is a little secret Squirtle. Congratulations. Looks like my mom, J.M. Platts in chat, managed to locate the secret Squirtle. I hope that brings you much good luck in the week to come. Thanks again to everybody for watching, as always. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. Not too soon, though, because I won't be back streaming again until... Let me get the actual date, just to clarify that. I will be back on... Not next weekend, but I get... Oh my god, it's December 3rd? I hate that. December 2nd will be the first time I'm streaming back with Murder by Numbers, and then we'll be back on the 3rd with more Lamplight City, and I hate the fact that that's December. That's really bad. Oh, I'm so stressed by learning that figure. I'll go cope with that. You all have a great rest of your weekend, and a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate, like me, here in America. Otherwise, just have a great time. It's great having you here. Take care, everybody.